of Cambodia's last remaining local independent news outlets, the Voice of Democracy, is closing up shop. The country's prime minister ordering it shut down.
VOD ran a story last week about Cambodia's dispatch of modest aid to Turkey, quoting the government spokesman as saying that Hun Sen's son had approved it, which technically he was not supposed to do. The Prime Minister demanded an apology and stated that VOD's expression of regret for any misunderstanding was inadequate. But it may also suit him to silence the last journalist willing to report on alleged injustices and abuses of power in the run-up to a general election scheduled for July.
The BBC's Jonathan Head. Norway's intelligence agency delivering its latest threat assessment, labeling Russia the main security threat for all of Europe, adding that it will remain so for a long time. News and analysis, townhall.com. A jury set to begin hearing witnesses in the death penalty phase of the trial for an Islamic terrorist who killed 8 people on a New York City bike path.
New York hasn't had an execution in 60 years, but last month it was on the table when Sayfullo Saipov was convicted of intentionally driving a truck down a Hudson River path, mowing down bicyclists. The same jury that found him guilty will decide if he is put to death or spend the rest of his life in prison. While New York doesn't have capital punishment, Saipov's trial is in federal court, which does. Saipov's killing spree took the lives of 2 Americans, 5 friends from Argentina, and a woman from Belgium. Julie Walker, New York.
One West Virginia water utility is enhancing its water treatment process. It's a precaution following the derailment of a train that was hauling chemicals in eastern Ohio. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Super Bowl Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Trudge on into work.
Yep. Post Super Bowl festivities.
Smart folks went home a little bit early yesterday.
That's me.
Yeah, you guys cut out. Most of the party pretty much cleared out about a little after halftime.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they left just shortly before I did.
Yeah.
Because I left right just before half.
Mm-hmm. Most people made it through halftime. We were in the third quarter. That's when kind of most of the party sort of disbanded. My son passed out and he stayed conked out for the rest of the thing. But yeah, the diehards were just hanging out on the couch watching the game. At the end, it was about a couch full of fans.
Well, it was a good game.
It was indeed
it was a competitive
down
game.
to the end seconds game.
For that, I am thankful.
Yeah.
I am also thankful because it makes me just that much happier when the Eagles lose.
I understand.
As a team, as growing up rooting for Washington and despising the Eagles as much or almost as much as the Dallas Cowboys, to see them lose, it does make me.
I mean, I gotta say though, they were putting on a show for the first half. Jalen Hurt was throwing some bombs, man. He was. I mean, several successful,
it was a good game. Yeah,
receptions. It was astonishing, and then he just blew. He completely blew it in the second half.
Well, all the Eagles fans are butthurt about the hold at the end. They gave the Chiefs basically the chance to win it. it did look a little ticky-tack from the replay, but that kind of throws it out the window when the player in question after in the interview said, yeah, I did it.
Right.
I mean, it kind of shuts everybody up. The guy who got called on it said, yeah, I did it. Y'all can complain if you want. That's pretty much...
I still want to see the Zapruder film, though.
I mean, the guy said I did it.
I want to see if he went back into the left.
Yeah, so I'm just like, yeah, you can argue all you want. Yeah, it was or wasn't. That's what fans do. But the dude said, yeah, I did it. So.
Well, yeah, but I've watched enough crime procedurals to know that a confession does not necessarily mean that one has done it.
Yeah, but what?
Maybe he was put under duress and that confession was forced out of him. We don't know how long he was waterboarded before that interview.
Wouldn't it be more advantageous for him and his team to go, yeah, I got robbed?
Yeah, but maybe they had a gun. Like right off the screen, pointed it straight in his head. Say what we told you to.
That's not in the script.
You just see. I didn't do it. Drops.
Right.
Drop. But yeah, all in all, really a really decent game. I mean, I had no skin in the game. It was nice to be there for the half that the Eagles were up, so I was able to kind of root for the team that was
Still going to get on Thomas about finding an ice bath now.
He doesn't seem to be in any too big of a hurry about it, so I'm not going to worry about it that much.
But if it does happen, and I would have said the same thing. If had the Chiefs lost, I'd be like, yeah, if it does it, I'll be doing it. I'll get in there and I'll do my thing.
If he tracks down a trough, I'm down.
But I do hate the Eagles, so it is nice to see them lose.
Now, is that
It's a rivalry thing, and I've just grown up watching this team, and they're awful fans.
I guess because I didn't really follow the lore of the history of Redskins, I don't really know who your rivalries are.
Yeah, well, it's the Cowboys,
right?
Number one, but a very, very close second is the Eagles, and then the Giants. But the Giants aren't as they're hated. But
everybody hates the Giants.
Well, like back in the day when I was growing up, the NFC East consisted of the four teams you know now and the St. Louis Cardinals. Now the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
And so they would play these teams twice a year. And I watched, and this is back, Redskins were winning Super Bowls. And the Cardinals, there was never a rivalry because they always stunk.
Right.
Like every year, they were the perennial basement team in the NFC East.
They were the Jaguars, essentially.
They were always just, Neil Lomax and company just stunk every year. And so it was hard to hate them because you felt bad for them.
Right. It's like being mean to the...
And to be honest, the Eagles were the second garbage team in that time period. It was the Cowboys, the Redskins, and the Giants. They were the three. The Eagles were better than the Cardinals, but they would usually miss the play. Like they had Randall Cunningham, who win you a few games, but he was always good for a few choke sessions where he'd fumble it or, or just got his lunch eaten by one of the superior teams in the league. But, so I've always hated. But then the Eagles got good, and I've hated. And then there was the years where they beat up Santa Claus at the game, and then there was like a old guy that used to for years dress up as a Redskins mascot kind of thing and show up at games. They beat that old man up at Philadelphia Stadium. I'm like, come on. I mean, granted, we don't beat people up. I mean, they're just savage people.
Sure.
And so, to be honest, when everything bad befalls on a Philadelphian, I don't feel bad because you people are toilet people.
Well, I'm curious how the streets of Philadelphia were after last night.
I did see a couple videos of cars getting flipped over.
Wasn't it Philly where they originally had to grease the poles because they had reports of people trying to climb up the poles?
Maybe, I don't know.
I can't remember if it was there or some other city, but
I feel like that's like Vancouver.
The best line of the morning that I've heard so far was. First of all, congratulations to the flyover before the game. The jets that flew over the
Navy pilots. Yeah.
All female pilots.
Yeah.
And the line that I heard was, and like every year, it's the closest the Jets are going to get to a Super Bowl. That's pretty good.
Not since Mr. Namath was behind the helm there, but yeah. Overall, the game was good. The commercials, I really missed a lot. I saw a few. There was a couple that made me laugh.
The problem that I ran into was just because I was out of sheer morbid curiosity, I pulled up a supercut of all the commercials yesterday, like a 28-minute supercut, and watched on YouTube. So I knew most of the commercials going in.
Okay,
I was kind of aware of a few of them. There were some good ones. There was a few decent ones. Pringles, I think, was one of my favorites because their whole commercial was, getting their hands stuck inside the Pringle can.
Mm-hmm.
How you can't
So
get
I missed
it out.
the Pringles one.
Which the funny part with that was the mom. At one point, the kid gets his hand stuck in the Pringles can, and his mom holds up a picture of an ultrasound with a fetus, tiny Pringles hand stuck on his can stuck on his hand. Pretty funny. It's pretty good.
The one that I don't get, that I get they're trying to be funny, but and then they're trying to get you to go online and watch the rest of it.
The roast of Mr. Peanut?
Yes. I don't understand.
I'm curious about that one because he's a roasted peanut.
I know. It's just dumb.
It's sure, but
because to me, and they got like all the same hacky comedians that do roasts for Comedy Central.
That's part of the appeal. It's like they actually have a decent dais roasting Mr. Peanut. And what I love is in the commercial, he actually has a callback to the last time we saw him in a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
When he drove off the cliff and died.
Oh, yeah. Because it's better than killing me off.
Yeah, they referenced that again. You guys are roasting me.
I just thought it was dumb. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't funny. It seemed cheesy. And I'm like, I'm certainly not going to go online and watch the rest of the roast
I'll be honest
over
with
a cartoon character.
I really want to go watch it just to see how uncensored it actually is. Because it's I know that it's going to be censored.
Yeah.
But it's also Jeff Ross. So, I got to say, though, one of my absolute favorites was this one right here. I'm trying to pull up the audio of it. I can't get it in time. Was the Hellman's mayonnaise commercial where Allison Brie and John Hamm are hanging out in the refrigerator.
Oh, really?
Because they're Ham and Brie.
The
whole thing was that John
Did they go
Hamm,
good with mayonnaise?
John Hamm couldn't figure out that he was the Ham and Brie. And then you see Pete Davidson open the fridge and he says, "Hey guys," and they're like, "Hey Pete," he goes, "I'm gonna eat you." And then it cuts to them at a party, and he's basically eating a ham and brie, sandwich with Hellman's mayonnaise or whatever. He's like standing across from them at a party. He goes, "You guys taste pretty good."
I think I know my wife's favorite commercial.
Yeah,
it was for T-Mobile.
Okay,
and it had the two dudes from Scrubs.
Oh, I didn't see this one.
And John Travolta.
I heard about it.
And they
basically
did
right?
Yeah, they did basically a Summer Lovin', the song from the Grease.
Right.
But they spoofed it. It's the three of them singing, walking, and Travolta singing his part. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's Travolta.
It's John Travolta and the two
Zach
dudes from
Braff
Scrubs.
and Donald Faison.
Yeah, and they're walking around like a neighborhood recreating a scene from Grease, but they're doing a spoof song of the Summer Lovin', but it's T-Mobile. It was kind of funny in its cheesiness. It made me laugh. I'll
tell you this.
My wife loved it.
I think they backed the truck up and gave those boys some serious cash because they've been doing those T-Mobile ads for like years now.
Oh yeah. Well, now they're at the crescendo Super Bowl of those ads, making big money. I'm trying to think of the other ones that The Summer Love, the T-Mobile
one.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Did you happen to see the Bush one?
That was the one I was gonna.
Yes, I did see that
great.
one where they make fun of Sarah McLachlan. Yeah, that was good.
And they said, and Sarah, you're sitting next to a wolf.
Yeah, she's like, one made me laugh.
There's a whole series of those.
Okay.
Like they did a whole bunch of them. I'm pretty sure that there's a bunch of these because I ran into a bunch for the popcorners too. The Breaking Bad one.
Yeah, well they did teasers online before the game. Yeah.
Well, the one I saw that I thought was hysterical was they were recreating the scene where the RV dies out in the middle of the desert and Jesse's sitting there trying to restart it. Walt's in the passenger seat going, "I'm an expert. It sounds like you're flooding it." And he gets it to start and Walt says, "Even blind squirrels." That's all he says, "even blind squirrels." I'm like, that's bravo. That's a great line for commercial because it forces you to finish the line. Get a nut sometimes.
I'm trying to think. There's another one that made me laugh, but I don't remember it off there.
All in all, though, I'd say it was a pretty good performance. It was pretty doggone funny to sit next to watch the Super Bowl performance because you guys took the halftime show because you guys took off right before the halftime show.
Yeah.
So we're on the back porch. Pretty much everybody else is inside, kind of doing their thing. We're on the back porch, quietly watching Rihanna's performance with Dennis. Now, anybody who knows Dennis, one of the fellows at the party knows this guy is staunchly like, I don't need that kind of, I like pop music and nonsense. Yeah. He was very against it, but by the end, he was sitting there going, "It's pretty good.
Diamonds in the sky."
He was like, "That was pretty good. That was pretty good." The one thing I didn't pick up on, and maybe I'm just like off.
Yeah.
Rihanna's pregnant.
Yes.
I didn't see that. Like, I didn't see the bump. I didn't.
Oh,
hear
yeah, you can see it. Well, I saw it, and then Kim said, "Is he pregnant?" And I just said, "I haven't heard. Maybe she's just put on a few."
I was more paying attention to the acrobatics and the pyro and stuff.
No. If you saw her at angles with that red suit, you can see a paunch there.
Well, and what we were talking about outside was because she just had a baby, like not too long ago. With
that she was losing her baby fat or whatever.
Rocky.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, maybe she's just working on the baby weight.
Yeah.
So, but baby number 2.
That's right. Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny. It's actually we'll take a break and do all the rundown because I want to talk a little bit more about the halftime show stuff, and we don't have a guest this hour.
Nah.
So yeah, our guest got can't make it, so they'll be in later actually tomorrow. We're gonna replay an interview in the 8 o'clock hour with Robert Sherman from the Walker Aviation Museum. He joined us last Tuesday, talking a little bit about there and talk a little history. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to replay an interview we had Friday. Under Sheriff Charles Eastlis and Lieutenant Charles Drake joined us from the Chavez County Sheriff's Department. Mm-hmm. And we had a great conversation with them. So we're going to play that for you here at about 9:15.
Nice.
Before we do any of that, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather. We got rain chances.
It's looking like it.
Yeah, like good chances of rain, but not a lot of rain. It's like it's going to rain, just not a lot, the way they're talking. But here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Strong low pressure moving through the southwestern states with gusty wind and some rain coming our way. Showers will be possible by this afternoon. Wind at around 30 miles an hour. This afternoon's high in the mid-60s. We've got a pretty good chance of showers this evening, but clearing up overnight and our low dropping to about 40. Wind gusting to 40 miles an hour. Then we're back to sunshine and windy on Tuesday, low 60s. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 39 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 48%. Winds currently out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour. Today, we're looking at a good chance at showers after 5 p.m. today. Mostly cloudy, high of 65. Winds will be out of the northeast 5 to 10 this morning, shifting to the south and increasing to around 20 miles, 15 to 20 for this afternoon. We are looking at a 60% chance of precipitation today, but they are saying new precipitation amounts less than a tenth. So, like I said, a good chance of rain, just not a whole lot of it. Tonight, we are looking at rain chances mainly before 8 p.m., mostly cloudy, but gradually becoming mostly clear with an overnight low of 38. Southwest winds 15 to 20, gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. Chance of rain, again, is at 60%, but they're talking less than a tenth of an inch possible. So really between 5 and 8, our sweet spot for rain, and we're going to probably get it, just not a whole lot is what I'm reading here. For you Tuesday, we do have a high wind watch that will take effect beginning at midnight tonight, tomorrow morning, and then go through 5 p.m. tomorrow. They are talking about a good chance of showers tomorrow before 8 p.m., then gradually becoming mostly clear. Expect a low of I'm sorry, that's the 38. I'm sorry, for Tuesday, let me do this again. We're looking at patchy blowing dust before 11 with all the wind. Sunny, 64. Winds will be up out of the southwest, 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 tomorrow. So a little rain today, wind tomorrow. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, overnight low of 35, southwest winds 15 to 20. And then Wednesday, we're looking at a 20% chance of rain and snow showers before 11. Areas of blowing dust after 11, mostly sunny, and a high of 51. Winds out of the southwest, 20 to 25, gusting as high as later increasing 30 to 35, gusting as high as 50 miles per hour on Wednesday. So it's going to be rough. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, blustery with an overnight low of 21. Thursday, we're not getting out of the mid-40s under sunny skies. Friday, sunny, highs near 50, and then back in the 60s for the weekend. 61 on Saturday, 68 on Sunday. So we're getting the gamut this week. Rains, maybe a little snow, a lot of wind, and some warmth too. So kind of running the gamut. All right, 7:22, we're going to get you into your Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten. We'll take a commercial break as well. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A good February run this week following Super Bowl Sunday with a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality native calves, light yearlings, and a few bred cows. We expect to sell 1,550 head. Break it down like this: 125, 150 weighing cows and bulls, 125, 100 to 125 pairs from bred cows, 1,300, 1,400 calves and yearlings today's sale will include 60 bred cows, good quality Hereford cows, mostly third trimester bred to Hereford bulls, cows 5 to 10 years old, 25 bred cows, extra quality black white face Angus cross cows, mostly third trimester bred to Angus bulls, 5 to 10 years old, 85 calves, MacGyver Ranch, Fort Davis, Texas, extra quality black white face Angus cross calves, cattle weaned 45 days, 500, 600 pounds, also 60 calves off the MacGyver Ranch down at Fort Davis. They're red white face and Hereford cross calves, cattle weaned 45 days, 500, 600 pounds. 17 steer calves, Aubrey and Robin Dunn, Mountaineer, New Mexico. Ex-quality black Maine and Jew cross calves, cattle weaned 90 plus days, 3 rounds of shots, 550, 650 pounds. 49 calves, Mr. David Madera, Jowl, New Mexico. Ex-quality black Angus and Brangus cross calves, 1 round of shots. Thin to medium condition, 275, 475 pounds. 123 calves, Mr. Cole Studdard here west of Roswell. Extra quality 80% black white face Angus cross calves, cattle weaned 120 plus days, 2 rounds of shots right off short wheat, 450, 650 pounds. 83 calves, Mr. Walter Norris at Hobbs, New Mexico. Extra quality black Angus cross calves, weaned 30 days, 2 rounds of shots, 550, 700 pounds. 53 calves, Snow Landing Cattle Company, Dale City, Texas. Good quality 1/8 year crossbred calves, 400, 500 pounds. 62 calves, Mr. Olin Borg here east of Roswell. Extra quality black white face Angus and Charolais cross calves, cattle weaned 100 days, 2 rounds of shots, cake and grass, 400, 550 pounds. 34 steer calves, Kincaid Brothers, Pinon, New Mexico. Ex-quality black Brangus cross calves, cattle weaned 45 plus days, 1 round of shots, 500, 600 pounds, and 21 steer yearlings, Nathaniel Inge, Balmoral, Texas. Ex-quality black white face Angus cross yearlings, 650, 800 pounds. Sale time this morning 9 o'clock. Sale pairs of bred cows about 9:30 to 9:45. Be selling calves and yearlings about 10 to 10:15. Fairly short on cows today, so don't be late. We expect to sell 1,550 head today. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Edge Safety and Services LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 402 West Main Street inside the Edge Safety and Services facility. Edge Safety and Services LLC is an equal opportunity employer.
If your tires are flat, need your car fixed, our reviews are better than mixed at Big O. At Big O Tires. We do the job fast and with a smile. Whatever the problem, we go the extra mile at Big O. At Big O Tires. Trust the service, no need to lie. Hop online, our reviews are high at Big O. At Big O Tires. Unbeatable service in all our stores, and that's why we get such high scores at Big O. At Big O Tires.
From January 30th to February 26th, get a $70 tire rebate via Visa Reward Card or Visa Virtual Account after online submission on a set of 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. Plus, get an additional $70 prepaid MasterCard on installation purchase of sets of 4 Michelin passenger or light truck tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Disposal fees and shop fees extra where permitted. Void where prohibited. See rebate form for terms and conditions. This offer valid with any form of payment.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to 2 amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now, I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
Nutrien Ag Solutions of Artesia is looking for a general labor yard hand and a warehouse lead to join their team. Nutrien Ag Solutions is a respected and well-established company who values their employees. They offer a generous benefits package, competitive pay, and will train the right candidate. To apply, please stop by Nutrien Ag Solutions at 103 East Mill Road or apply online at nutrien.com or indeed.com. And for more information about the openings, call Andrea at Nutrien Ag Solutions 575-748-3510. Nutrien Ag Solutions is an equal opportunity employer.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-817-2871. 800-817-2871. 800-817-2871. That's 800-817-2871.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The catfish has over 27,000 taste buds. Do you think they prefer fried or blackened? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:30. We were talking a little Super Bowl.
That's right.
So, so we were talking right before we went to break, the Rhiannon performance last night, and
my daughter was performing.
Yeah, or whatever, Rihanna. Sorry,
I was messing with
Rhiannon. Rihanna.
I kept screaming in the house. I was like, Rhiannon, you need to get on stage.
I guess I was just out of habit, just yelled out your daughter's name.
Here's the thing: my kid has no sense of sarcasm, so she goes, "All right, I'll dance." I'm like, no, honey, you don't have to. We were just kidding.
It made it sound like you make her do it all the time.
Right. She's like the
not here, Daddy.
She's like the don't make me sing girl from SNL. But yeah, Rihanna put in.
We put the Rihanna show. Yeah,
put in a good performance last. I will say this.
It was fine. I just didn't care.
Somebody asked me like, "What's that pole hanging out of the back of Rihanna?" I'm like, she's harnessed in because she's hundreds of feet up on a Mario platform.
Yeah. That's a stick to keep her harnessed in. Yeah. Now that we learned she had two people up there, you definitely want to make sure you got the harness going up there. So.
Oh yeah. You're harnessing for two.
But then I saw on the internet how everyone's complaining that she didn't get paid, and I'm like that they and she got paid. Don't worry. The NFL doesn't pay for talent.
Right.
That's why the show is called the Apple Halftime Show. Apple paid her to be there. Apple covered. Now, only thing the NFL covers is the travel expenses and all that.
As I've gathered it, though, there's a whole thing, like some of the dancers from several Super Bowls in the past have come out and talked about their experience, and they, like, for example, Justin Timberlake's. They said they had like 13 rehearsals they had to come to for like 4 hours at a time to make sure they had the show down pat, and none of these were paid for. They said they didn't have their tickets to the game weren't paid for. They said they weren't even given food during most rehearsals.
They should give them that stuff.
Right. Give them crafty. I mean, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Especially if you make them wear the ridiculous costumes and make them wear those things and all that.
Traditionally, the artists themselves, they don't really get paid. Like you said, Apple paid for the show. Yeah. They paid for the show and and
Rihanna got paid.
The minimal amount for the crew. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Rihanna did not get. I'm pretty sure that she didn't get a check from Apple or anybody. I don't know how that works.
And I've also heard that they pay for their own stuff, like some of the pyrotechnics.
Was it
and all
Apple
that.
or was it Pepsi? Because it's always been Pepsi.
No, this was Apple.
Is it Apple?
The halftime show was Apple this year.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was
because for the
Apple.
last decade, it's been Pepsi.
No, Apple did the halftime show.
That's crazy.
Year. Yeah, Pepsi was advertising. They were an but it was Apple because they had what's his name? Ben Stiller and Steve Martin do ads for them.
I saw those. Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, it was a good performance. I did think it was funny. Will walks outside and, while we're watching the performance, goes, "Those people are sweating their butts off because they're in parkas doing just like hardcore Pilates dancing
in Arizona."
In Arizona, yeah. Well, in fairness, in February, so it's desert heat, probably still.
Well, they're indoors.
60s.
I mean, they did have the thing open, but
that was another
pretty
thing,
closed.
and it came up after the halftime show that anybody really noticed it, but apparently it was the thing the whole time. Was the turf, was the field.
Yeah, the grass was slippery or something.
Slippery, and it was divoted after the halftime show. They said there were divots from the performance.
Well, that's actual natural grass they play on. That's that stadium in Arizona I've talked about on the radio. They actually pull the whole field out and hook it out in the parking lot to get sun and water and all that stuff. It says, and then roll it back in.
The NFL spent 2 years preparing the grass for the field on at the Super Bowl, and that turf was slipping on. The grass was grown from a local sod farm in Phoenix. It was installed 2 weeks ago, and the total cost was $800,000.
Yeah.
So that's relatively new, but yeah, it was causing a lot of.
Yeah, but you know what? I bet the problem was the fact that it was only laid 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You got to give it time for it to take roots and everything. So if 2 weeks may not be, that's why you're probably getting all the clumps, because the grass isn't rooted well. It's just rolled on there freshly and had a chance to really take hold. But anyway, I don't think we spend the whole time watching the Super Bowl talking about the landscaping.
This year, Mahomes did these 4 things. He won the regular season MVP. He won the Super Bowl MVP. He led the NFL in passing touchdowns and led the NFL in passing yards. Only 3 players have ever done this in the whole career. What Mahomes did this season. That's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Kurt Warner. Mahomes did it all in this season. And it needs to be said, props to Mahomes for holding it together on pretty much one leg.
Yeah,
the whole back half of the game.
Well, and there's only been 2 quarterbacks in the NFL this year that have beaten Jalen Hurts. Patrick Mahomes yesterday,
right,
and Taylor Heineke of the Washington Commanders. That's it. No one else has beaten Jalen Hurts this season. That's right. So what I'm saying is, ex facto, Taylor Heineke's your Super Bowl MVP.
There you go. It tracks. My friend Misty had a good point though. Yesterday she was sitting next to me. We were watching the back half of the game before they left, and she goes, "I can't wait for the bad lip reading of this." Which absolutely, yeah, same.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
I did see some people get a little salty. Again, Terry Bradshaw, and I think this is Terry just because he's buddies with everybody. And he talks to them like buddies.
Right.
And it makes people on the outside salty. And he did it last night because every year when Fox is doing the Super Bowl, Terry Bradshaw is usually the guy there at the Super Bowl trophy presentation.
Right.
And he'll interview the head coach and the owner and all that. And, of course, he was there again as Roger Goodell presents the Chiefs with the trophy. And then Terry gets in there, and, of course, he asks a couple questions to the owner. And then he brings up the coach. And of course he goes, "Waddle on up here, Coach. Come on. Come on, get on. Waddle on up here." And then he's talking, "Coach, how's this on?" He goes, "You earned a cheeseburger, Coach. Here's have a cheeseburger on us." I'm like, just because he's fat, you're telling him to waddle on up here and have a cheeseburger? Now, he's buddies with the guy, so they probably give each other crap like that all the time, but not in a public setting. And so it looked like Terry was just kind of fat shaming the coach a little bit. So people on the internet were getting salty, which made me kind of laugh. "Come on over here. You earned a cheeseburger, fat boy." Pretty much is what he was saying. You're just like, man.
Pull no punches, Terry. What was it? The whole thing about win $1 million with Terry Bradshaw?
Oh, that was all season they were doing that.
Was it?
Each week you could win Terry's money, and he entered some contest. And then, because each week they have a suitcase. They've done it for like 2 seasons or 3 seasons.
I hadn't heard of
They did it last season too, and I think the season before that. But yeah, they give out like a suitcase of like $100,000 each week to winner, and then I guess it's up to a bigger amount for Super Bowl or something. I don't know. I wasn't paying that close attention, but I know they've been doing it for a couple of years now. So I imagine they're gonna. I can't imagine Terry Bradshaw's got. He's getting old, and he's kind of.
He really is.
He's kind of getting like. like at halftime on Fox games, he's the guy that does like the scoring update.
Mm-hmm.
So at halftime when he's updating all the scores, it's usually Terry Bradshaw and is the one doing it. And half the time he can't keep up. He's usually messing up and getting things.
And that's a big problem too, because his shtick is specifically like up,
yeah,
like upbeat and like electric.
Witty.
You can't be like, I mean, if you were like you worked yourself to like a Troy Aikman where you're, just a normal level-headed commentator, you can kind of age gracefully. When you're the up dude, you always got to be up. And if you sound like this and you're really tired, it's really hard to sound like that. Trust me.
Well, especially when you look at the rest of the people on the panel. It's Jimmy Johnson, who, I mean, they're analysts, they're good at, but they're not what you call the up people. Howie Long, who's about as fun as a fart in an elevator.
Yeah, he's kind of like watching paint dry.
You got Strahan, who can be that. He's kind of turned into the Ryan Seacrest of NFL people. And then you got what's his name, the host. That's not the football player. Used to be JB back in the day. He still went to CBS. Now it's the other guy that's like JB's clone. But anyway, and it just. But although I'm not gonna lie, when Terry Bradshaws up there, I'm like, oh, what's this dude gonna say now? Because he's almost getting to that age where he's gonna say something dumb, and I want to hear it.
Exactly. This is when it gets fun. That's what I'm saying. Don't make him retire.
But I would hate for him to get Me Too'd out of it because he just says something that's clearly offending someone, but he meant nothing by it.
I really wish I knew the name of the broadcaster. The guy who was doing the baseball broadcast from a few years back, and he dropped just like a homophobic slur right before he went on the air.
Yeah, I think I remember that clip. Yeah, I
capital of the world.
I do remember that clip.
And then he goes into calling the game. All right, we're back with. He goes into calling the game, and then he apologizes, says this is probably my last time on the radio or on the air, and then continues calling the game. It's pretty good.
He's a pro.
That's pretty good.
He's Brockmeyer.
It's like, I'm sorry. I apologize wholeheartedly. This is maybe the last time you'll hear from me. Line drive to outside.
Have you watched Brockmeyer?
I haven't yet, no.
You should watch Brockmeyer. It's that Brockmeyer, it's on Hulu.
Is it on Hulu? Okay.
It is on Hulu. It was a IFC show. I think there's 2 or 3 seasons of it. That's Brockmeyer. It's Hank Azaria, and he's a sportscaster that his wife was cheating on him, and he had a meltdown on the broadcast about his wife cheating on him, and it went internet famous. And he went into hiding after that, like going to the Philippines or something. Right. And then he comes back and he's internet famous, where he's right there with the meme people and all the memes and those famous meme people. There's Brockmeyer, and so he's got a cult following, and he kind of gets reestablished while still doing his
I definitely want to check it out. I thought it was one of those Apple Plus things, which
No, it's on Hulu.
I think it was you last night. I just walked out on the patio and I heard you say the perfect description of Apple Plus.
Yeah.
Which it's pretentious.
It is.
It's the more pretentious streaming, which I 100% agree.
Yeah, it is.
It's like Lasso's good. The morning show I'm sure is fine, but everything else just feels like better than you programming, you know?
Well, even the morning show has an air of, a little,
right.
I'm better than you. But certainly, but it's still kind of good.
Sure.
But certainly, the other show is just pure comedy. But it's a great show. It's exactly like you said. It's got that, because it's written by the dude that did Scrubs.
Bill Lawrence.
It's that funny, but you kind of feel good afterwards. You're kind of like funny, but like, hey, we're all kind of happy.
Which I guess he's got another. He must have a really lucrative deal with Apple Plus, because Lawrence is working on another show for the Apple Plus called Shrinking.
Was that the one with
Jason Segel and Harrison Ford?
Yeah, I've seen the commercials
that looks interesting.
for that.
I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I keep seeing the commercials and Jason Segel sitting in a chair and Harrison Ford's like manipulating his cheeks and face and stuff. I'm like, okay,
what's happening right here?
I don't know. It is 7:42. Let's go ahead and do news and commercial break and stuff, and then we'll come back and chit-chat some more, maybe Super Bowl, maybe something else in my head. So we'll do that. It is 7:42, time for local news. Kim Commando, your Wall Street Business Update, quick break as well. Don't go away.
Now for your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A man wanted in connection to a drive-by shooting in Roswell has been apprehended. Justino Martinez was arrested Saturday night after a brief foot chase with police. He had been wanted for 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 2 counts of child abuse, shooting at an occupied dwelling, and other crimes. Roswell police said Martinez opened fire on a home in the 700 block of East 5th Street. 3 adults and 2 children were in that home at the time, but amazingly, nobody was injured. RPD later learned Martinez was staying at a home in the 1600 block of West Alameda late last week. Roswell City Council member Angela Moore is recovering after suffering a medical episode during last week's council meeting. Mayor Timothy Jennings called for a recess after seeing that Moore was being helped away from the bench by paramedics at the Roswell Convention Center. After being checked out at the emergency room, Moore, we're told, was released to go home. She has not responded to calls inquiring about what happened. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Cell phone radiation is back in the news, and here's what you need to know. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by CarShield. Be prepared for the unexpected. Visit carshield.com/Kim and save 10%. Deductible may apply. Your cell phone emits radiation even when you're not using it because it's always in contact with the nearest cell phone tower. Our government says the radiation can't harm you, but ProPublica reports that both the FCC and FDA base that on over 20-year-old data. And there's new research proving health risks even if our exposure is below those limits. This radiation can affect fetal development and perhaps even trigger some forms of cancer. New studies of people living near cell towers list an array of health complaints: dizziness, nausea, headaches, tendinitis, insomnia. For now, play it safe. Never put a cell phone to your ear. This is especially true for children. And pregnant women, keep that phone away from both your heads and your bellies at all times. You can be the smartest person in the room. Get my daily longer podcast called Kim Commando today. Dell Technologies President's Day business event starts now with deals to power America's doers and dreamers. Save on select performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. And don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories. Plus get free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL for President's Day deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL, 877-ASK-DELL.
Tim, we need to talk. I just can't get over that rate increase from Verizon and AT&T last year.
We'll switch to T-Mobile and get their price lock guarantee. They won't raise our rates for talk, text, and data ever.
Oh, we're switching today.
Switch to T-Mobile and get 4 lines for $25 a line with our price lock guarantee. We won't raise the price of your rate plan for talk, text, and data ever.
4 lines for $25 per line with autopay, plus taxes and fees. $5 more per month without autopay. Price lock for qualifying services excludes taxes, fees, select promos, and third-party services. See T-Mobile.com for details.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Strong low pressure moving through the southwestern states with gusty wind and some rain coming our way. Showers will be possible by this afternoon. Wind at around 30 miles an hour. This afternoon's high in the mid-60s. We've got a pretty good chance of showers this evening, but clearing up overnight and our low dropping to about 40, wind gusting to 40 miles an hour. Then we're back to sunshine and windy on Tuesday, low 60s. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. Well, the Roswell Coyotes put the pressure on the one of the district leaders the other day in boys basketball, but Roswell falls at home to Carlsbad by a score of 46-43. The Coyotes are now an even 12-12 on the season, 1-3 in district play, and Roswell will have a shot at one of the other district leaders tomorrow night at Hobbs at 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, the Goddard Rockets were playing against Portales, so that was at home, and Portales wins that game by a score of 47-35. Goddard is now 11-13 overall and 1-3 in district play. The Rockets will be playing at Lovington tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. You know, this is the last week of the district schedule. The last games will be played on Friday night. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander.
The toughest week for Wall Street in nearly 2 months came to a quiet end on Friday as stock indexes drifted to a mixed finish. CSX Railroad has promised to give more of its workers the paid sick time they demanded in contract negotiations last fall. CSX is the only major freight railroad so far to agree to give its employees sick time in the wake of a contentious negotiation process last year that ended only after Congress stepped in to block a potential strike. Russia announced Friday that it will cut oil production by 500,000 barrels per day next month after Western countries capped the price of its crude over its action in Ukraine. Analysts have said one possible Russian response to the cap would be to slash production to try to raise oil prices, which could eventually flow through to higher gasoline prices at the pump as less oil makes its way to the global market. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing, and I know you've heard me say that you can trust Trustmark, but I want you to know what that looks like in real life. A few years ago, we installed a beautiful new roof for an older woman who was recently widowed. She was an artist and colors were really important to her. So when she said she didn't like the color of a brand new roof, we took that seriously. She had picked the color and signed off on it, but I just kept thinking, if she's going to walk into her house every day and be disappointed, then we're just going to redo it. So we did. We ripped that beautiful new roof off and replaced it with a slightly different color, and she was thrilled. Yes, it cost us quite a bit of money to make her happy, but I want you to know you can trust Trustmark to make it exactly right every time. If you have any roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
In New Mexico, the leading cause of death is heart disease, but it is preventable. This Heart Health Month, celebrate with Artesia General Hospital at a special presentation from the cardiology specialist at Advanced Heart and Vascular Center of New Mexico. They'll be joined by special guest Sherry Wells, Executive Director of the American Heart Association. Join us on Thursday, February 16th at 5:30 p.m. in the Green Chili Cafe. For more information, please visit Artesia General Hospital's Facebook page. One beat at a time, we're here for every heart.
Edge Safety and Services LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 402 West Main Street inside the Edge Safety and Services facility. Edge Safety and Services LLC is an equal opportunity employer.
Looking for a delicious lunch or dinner? Asian Market brings the flavors of the East to Roswell. Dine in or carry out. Sample the best Asian cuisine in town. Try their egg drop soup, General Tso's chicken, or perhaps their spicy seafood salad. And you must try their fresh milk green tea or Thai coffee, all made fresh. Dine in or call ahead and pick up at the Asian Market today.
Hi, this is Nok. Come see me at the Asian Market, 5702 South Main in Roswell. Call
575-840-5309. Using locally owned and operated Zenith Security Services gets you service after the sale. Quick turnaround time, security systems tailored to your needs, an actual person when you call, and you're investing in your community. Zenith Security has provided security solutions for southeastern New Mexico since 1998, and we care about our community. When you have security needs, remember, give the locals a shot and call Zenith Security Services at 575-626-3521.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Men are 6 times more likely to be struck by lightning than women. That's because men are 6 times more likely to wear a tinfoil hat in a thunderstorm. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:51. Don't forget, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. That's right. And good news for you, procrastinators. Dairy Queen on North Main here in Roswell has a sweet treat for you and your sweetheart. Cupid cakes.
Ooh.
Yes. A delicious and delectable Dairy Queen treat perfectly sliced for 2 and priced right at a sweet $12.99. Choose from one of 3 flavors like Triple Truffle Blizzard Cupid Cake.
Nice.
My favorite, the Choco Cherry Love
Same.
Cupid Cake, or the Dip Strawberry Cupid Cake. It's the perfect treat for the 2 of you to show your sweetheart some love. and show how special they really are. Pick up your cake from Dairy Queen here on North Main. Don't go to the South Main to get your blizzards and burgers, and I mean not South Main, on 2nd. Go down there, get you that, but the blizzard cakes, you need to go to the one on North Main. There. Yep. So I saw a commercial during the Super Bowl for a movie that I'm highly
There was a few
curious.
decent
the one
trailers.
I can't remember the name of the movie.
Okay.
But it's Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and they're together, and they're basically it's the story of how Jordan's sneakers, the Nike Jordans, the Air Jordans.
Oh, I think it's called Air?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's just called Air.
I don't know what it's called, but basically Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are executives either with Nike or somebody, and they're trying to convince them to say Jordan's going to be the next big thing. We need to create a shoe before.
Follows the history of shoe salesman Sonny Vaccaro and how he led Nike in its pursuit of the greatest athlete in the history of basketball, Michael Jordan. Which, in fairness, those Jordans are still pulling in buku.
Now, granted, I was alive and lived during that time, so I think it's more special to me than someone like. Again, I'm not a basketball fan. I don't really watch them, but I love the stories behind it. So I'm like, yeah, I want to see this. I
didn't see that trailer.
I saw it. It was in the second half, so because I was already home. So.
Right.
But yeah, it looked good.
I did see there was a few. It was a big night for like the Marvel trailers. The Flash rolled out its trailer.
Which they had Michael Keaton as Batman.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, that made me excited.
Oh, yeah,
I could care less about the Flash. I've never watched the CW TV show. Don't know anything about it. But if you're bringing Michael Keaton back as Batman, like, even if it's just a cameo, because I know the movie's called The Flash.
Yeah,
but. You got me at Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah, that was intriguing. But
and
also,
I hope to God, somewhere in that movie he goes, "I'm Batman."
Oh, he does.
Does he?
I mean, that's in the trailer.
Does he do it in the trailer? I didn't catch that part.
I'm Batman. Yeah,
I was in a group of people. I didn't hear it so much.
Yeah,
I just saw
every
it.
Batman has had a very unique take on the "I am Batman" line.
Yeah,
like
Keaton's the one seed, man.
Keaton is by far the one seed.
Yeah,
and I would say that the bottom of that barrel, the Christian Bale version. I
really
hated his gravel. I'm Batman. I hated it. Hated it so much. Because it was so fakey and put on.
To me, the worst Batmans were either Kilmer or Clooney. Because
you know what it is?
They were too big a deal to be Batman.
Nothing either one of them, and Clooney gave us bat nipples, so he's forgiven for that reason alone.
I don't mind the Bale. To be honest, the Bale Batman I rate. Probably behind Keaton.
Really?
Yeah.
As second. Oh, okay.
I think because I Clooney and Kilmer were a hot mess.
Right.
There is a certain soft spot for Adam West's Batman because that was the OG Batman.
Was Kilmer the? No, it was definitely Clooney that gave us bat nipples for sure. Clooney didn't have, or Kilmer didn't have.
I don't remember. I don't remember. See, but that's not even them.
Yeah.
It's the portrayal of Batman.
Right.
And Keaton nailed it, and all others had to kind of play second banana to me. What about best Batman bad guy actor of all time? Because, I mean, you got to say the one seed's got to be Jack Nicholson, right?
Nicholson Joker. Well, Nicholson Joker and Ledger Joker are
Ledger's a great Joker.
Are probably back to back. But I would go controversial and say Danny DeVito Penguin.
I liked his Penguin.
I always did too.
He was my favorite Penguin of the Penguins.
Because he's the most Penguin-esque human being.
Well, plus he was like this dark dude that actually lived in the sewers.
Right. He looks like if somebody took a penguin, gave him sentience, and said, "You're a man now."
Yeah. Well, and they morphed him like he was abused as a kid, and he had deformities and everything. So he was actually more penguin-like than just some guy in a tuxedo.
You're right.
You know. And so now.
Most fun to impersonate at a party? Bane. By far.
I'd like to talk like this.
Like a vodka soda.
You just do every conversation like this. Those ribs are delicious.
They're delicious. Go up with it.
I will take the soul of a small child to have more of your queso dip.
It's bordering on... old school radio DJ. Original name, a funny name, but a serious sandwich.
I take revenge on avocados. Yeah. Although, I'm not going to lie. As far as pure entertainment, Arnold, one of my favorite the Iceman.
Just because
he was
of his,
awful, but it was so
lines.
it was so bad it made me happy.
Yeah, hearing Arnold Schwarzenegger badly pun his way through that movie as Mr. Freeze.
Well, you have to grow up watching 80s Arnold to get it, because every one of those Commando, Running Man, every one he had the line, what happened to Buzzsaw? He had to split. Remember, sir, I let him go. I mean, it's the whole, all those bits he does in all those movies. And then for it to be just one big pun in a Batman movie made me laugh. I know it's god-awful, but I enjoyed it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. It's interesting, though, because it was pointed out to me last night that the multiverse thing was originally a DC thing and Marvel sort of glommed on it. But I'm sorry, Marvel did it better. Marvel has consistently done it better.
Speaking of Marvel, I've been seeing commercials for it. It comes in March. Vice, the Vice channel. Right now they're doing, they have a show called Icons on Earth. I've talked about it multiple times on the show.
Right.
First they did Star Wars and they did Simpsons. Now they're doing Fast and Furious.
Okay.
After Fast and Furious is done, they're doing one on Marvel.
Really?
All of Marvel. And they're talking about how Marvel came to be Marvel. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of good stories about the things that Marvel did to become basically the winner of the superhero.
Speaking of, because I'll tell you, if you were a fan of the 90s of Marvel, there was a quick minute there where they were on the verge of bankruptcy. And if you grew up in my generation, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the DC universe was top dog. All the Batman movies were in the box office.
Well, Keaton made the movie.
Sure. DC was their race to lose. And Marvel, through a series of insanely lucky business dealings, shot up to the top. Nobody knew who Iron Man was.
Nope. No, he was a comic book guy.
They birthed Iron Man and created an entire... So I'm sorry, Marvel just does it better.
Yeah, they basically took their whole canon, which is a very niche audience, and made it mass appeal. And that's,
Guardians of the Galaxy, that's one of the most niche groups out there, and it's the biggest franchise leader in Marvel. I mean, so I'm curious to see that one. But bookending Icons on Earth, I know we got to go. Did you see the trailer for Fast X last night?
Yeah, I did.
The new Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is where they're going to end it. Knock on wood.
Well, don't go see it, because that way it'll guarantee they'll end it. If they make a bunch of money, they'll dust off. They'll bring somebody back from the dead. They've already done it once or twice in that series. Why not do it again? So
I'd love to see where the Paul White character goes.
All right, it's 8 o'clock. We'll be back on the other side of news. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. We'll be back. Don't go away.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Fierce fighting is raging in eastern Ukraine. Russian forces pressing an offensive across a broad front.
The presidential office says at least 5 civilians and as many were wounded in action across the war-torn country over the last 24-hour period. Meanwhile, Britain's defense ministry says in a briefing Russian forces are bolstering defensive fortifications along southern Ukraine, appearing concerned about protecting the southern fringes of the 800-mile battlefront. The U.S. Embassy in Moscow has issued another warning for its citizens to depart immediately from Russia. I'm Charles Tuladesma.
A fourth flying object shot from the sky by the U.S. military, this one taken down yesterday over Lake Huron in Michigan. Military officials careful to describe this and the others as unidentified objects.
We're calling them objects, not balloons, for a reason, said General Glenn Van Herk, the head of North American Aerospace Defense Command, during a briefing call with journalists. He explained that it still wasn't clear how they were being propelled through the air or where they were coming from.
The BBC's Peter Bowes, a Chinese spy balloon that kicked all of this off, was shot down 8 days ago off South Carolina. And now, as of this morning, China's accusing the U.S. of sending spy balloons over its territory. A week after 2 powerful earthquakes struck vast areas of Turkey and Syria, a 40-year-old woman's been pulled alive from the rubble of a building in southeastern Turkey. Many blame faulty construction for the vast devastation. Authorities are contractors allegedly linked with buildings that collapsed. The earthquake death toll now topping 35,000. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is up 175 points, the Nasdaq ahead 104, and the S&P 25 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Google hoping to teach Europeans to recognize misinformation when they see it.
They call it pre-bunking, educating people about the techniques common to misleading claims that spread like wildfire on the internet, like scapegoating, false comparisons, and missing context. Now, tech giant Google is launching a new campaign in Germany with short videos that will appear as advertisements on platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Videos in a testing campaign in Poland, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia were seen 38 million times. Beth Goldberg, who studies social challenges for a division of Google, says there's a real appetite for solutions. Content moderation prompts cries of censorship, and traditional journalism fact checks don't reach people who are already distrustful of the media. Pre-bunking videos are easy to produce and can be seen by millions. Sander van der Linden with the University of Cambridge tells the AP, if misinformation spreads and acts like a virus, then maybe we can figure out how to inoculate people. I'm Jennifer King.
News and analysis at townhall.com. A European Union prohibition on Russian diesel fuel imports is now in effect.
The 27-country EU is taking the step to further slash its energy dependency on Moscow. The measure also aims to cut the Kremlin's fossil fuel earnings as punishment for invading Ukraine. The ban comes along with a price cap agreed to by the group of 7 allied democracies. Europe will have to find new supplies of the diesel fuel from the U.S., Middle East, and India.
Correspondent Jeremy House. Lawmakers in Colorado and 10 other states introducing bills that would force farming equipment manufacturers to provide the tools, software, parts, and manuals needed for farmers to do their own repairs. The bills are a response to farmers unable to fix their own tractors and combines. It's forcing them to wait sometimes days and pay steep labor costs. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil witch and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
Nope. Deuce.
Mornings with Mike Winters. There are dueling deuces. Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday, everybody. For those of you called in sick, hope you're sleeping. Super Bowl
My dad
hangover.
texted me Burgess Meredith as a good villain.
Yeah, he was the Adam West Penguin.
I like Frank Gorshin personally as the Riddler.
Oh yeah, he was good. He was good. Oh, but he spawned his costume spawned the that guy that used to hang out in D.C. and telling everybody he's got deals for free government money.
Matt Lesko.
Yeah, that guy.
Or was it Matt? Yeah, Matthew Lesko.
Yeah, that guy. I think that Riddler spawned that guy. But that's just me. But happy Monday. Hope all of you are having a delightful day so far. Things going well in your world.
That dude fascinated me as a kid. Because, well, number one, I was always like, well, why are we struggling to pay the bills when they're just giving out money? They're just handing it to you. Why are we struggling so much?
Just like those Facebook things, Hey, I'm going to bless you with $1,000. First person tells me a word that ends in an E and starts with E. And you're like, okay.
It's like emerge, engage.
I'm like, does anybody actually get money on those? Does anybody ever get not scammed into something? Like the ones that make me laugh now is like you'll go to any random story or news article and someone will comment about the story and then somebody goes in, I love your opinion. Let's be friends. And I'm like, does that work with if you're legit trying to make friends, does that work every way, or do people instantly think you're scamming them? I mean, is there any person
in this day and age? I got to imagine people are going to assume that you're scanning. You're I'm
like, does that work? Does anybody meet and make like a lifelong friend by doing that? Or most of us are like, get lost, loser. You don't touch me. You're going to steal my money, steal my identity, something. You're taking something from me. Leave me alone, loser. I'm just curious. Nobody's ever responded.
Well,
now they're like good buddies.
It's funny. I've gotten so many spam. Gmail's dropping the ball lately. I've gotten so many spam emails that just say like confirmation number.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that I don't shop online because I would have been fooled by one of these Amazon receipts or whatever in my email.
Yeah.
It's always just like you click that link, you're now the carrier or the host, and you're distributing the nonsense.
My wife
and
I, mostly my wife, has ordered enough things on Amazon that I can kind of spot the real Amazon email versus the not pretty quickly because, my wife being a teacher around the late summertime when she's ordering new stuff that she can't get here locally anywhere, I see a lot of those emails.
See, I thought you were going to go with, because she's a teacher, we catch a lot of grammatical errors.
No. No. I catch more of those than she does.
Her eyes are tired, man. She's been proofreading all day long.
Yeah. That's partly a while I'm glad I'm not a teacher because, you've listened to me speak and talk and know that I say things that are not correct all the time.
I was going to school to become an elementary school teacher.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine this face leading your children.
Yeah. Well, I just think you would have popped off on a kid a long time ago.
Listen, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Honestly, though, he wouldn't shut up. He just would not shut up.
I could just see you popping off on a kid one day.
Yeah, I was basically warned out of that as a career path. They were like, you're basically just putting your life, your career in the hands of the kids that you're going to be leading.
Wow, that was your guidance counselors telling you this?
Well, they said as a man, you're going to be judged much more. You're going to be have to go face much more scrutiny, basically. You're never going to not be looked at.
See, they don't give that kind of advice today. Rightly so. But you're right. I mean, there wasn't a lot of males in elementary teaching. There's just there was when my first male teacher was 5th grade. I did have a teacher that, and actually he wasn't. And by 5th grade, I had like the same teacher all day, but there was 3 different ones, and we would rotate like sometimes for a certain class, like. And so the guy would teach a lot of math stuff. I can't remember his name, but the guy. The other 2 female teachers would teach science or math or English or something. But he was like the math guy, so we would have to go see him for math. Mr. I can't remember his name. Some with a T. Turing or Tootie or something. I don't remember. But that was my first male teacher I ever had.
My first male teacher, now that I think about it, was in freshman year of high school. It was my Algebra 1 teacher, I believe. First male teacher I ever had.
I had an art teacher as a male, now that I think about it, in middle school.
No, my band director, that's a lie. My band director in middle school was a guy. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, elementary school, I dealt with one male pretty much the whole time I was in elementary school. So, although when I first started schooling, kindergarten through second grade, I actually went to Catholic school. So
Really?
yeah, I had sisters teaching me.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a miracle you came out left-handed.
I'm just saying they were quick with the rulers. This is back in the late 70s too.
Right.
But, I grew up in the Catholic school for a few years, and then when my parents moved to farther southern Maryland, I went to public school starting third grade. So, yep.
I just shrunk myself. My foot hit the thing, and I went.
You went down, low rider. Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We'll get you up to date with the weather here in just a few. Then in just a couple minutes after that, we're going to play our interview with Robert Sherman from Walker Aviation Museum. Joined us in the 7 o'clock hour last week, just giving us an update and talk a little history with us. So we'll play that for you. Later on this hour, we'll get you up to date with the news of the local variety, along with Wall Street Business Update and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show.
I will tell you this, the most physically uncomfortable I've been watching a commercial ever. And also maybe the closest I've ever come to never wanting to do parody ever again was Uber Eats.
The commercial last night?
Yeah, with Diddy.
I saw it. I didn't pay attention to what was all going on.
Basically, it wasn't Uber Eats, it was Uber One.
Just Uber One, yeah.
Yeah. They were asking Diddy to write a jingle for him.
Okay, that's what I missed the premise of the commercial. I just saw a bunch of people singing.
Right, and it's basically it's like all these like 90s, 80s, 90s, singer-songwriters singing their songs, but with these shoehorned, terrible lyrics about Uber One and how it's going to save you money and all. And I hate whenever you hear a song and the words that are in the song aren't said in the song like they would be said in real life. Like if you put the emphasis on the wrong part of the word in a song, it bugs the bejesus out of me. And they did it all over the place last night on that commercial.
Well, you might not like that T-Mobile ad with John Travolta.
Yeah, that's
because they do the whole thing with Summer Lovin', but a T-Mobile version.
Right.
But if you can get through it, Travolta does at the end that.
Oh God!
With the finger, it's great. The end of that song. He can't do it like he did in the movie, but he does attempt it at the end of that commercial.
All right, props. Yeah, if it works and I write parody songs. If it works in the lyrics of the song, that makes it sound so much better. But when you shoehorn a line in and the syllables are all wrong and like the iambic pentameter, whatever you want to call it, is off, it just hits my ear wrong. It just bothers me.
See, that's why I wasn't in band. I don't have any musical abilities. I just go, sounds good to me. But I could see that. I could see how that would, because that kind of stuff in certain other circles bugs me. It's all about what you're into, and since you played band and all that, I imagine it hits your crux. Hits her craw a little different than others.
And as somebody pointed out, I have like bionic ears that randomly pick up a lot more than most ears do, and so I'm sonically irritated by a lot of things. I can be sonically irritated.
But sounds like a good band name.
Sonically irritated.
Yeah, it does. Are you sonically irritated? Now provide Navage for your ears.
Earage. I'll tell you what, dude. I really do want to try Navage.
We
Those
have
commercials.
One.
Do we?
Kim does.
Do you?
Yeah, we
do.
We do.
Station.
Yeah, no, the radio. My wife and I have one. Yes.
Does it work?
Yeah, my wife uses it way more. I've only used it like 3 or 4 times, but she's used it a bunch.
I'll take your word for it because I feel like a Navage is a very personal. It's like your toothbrush. You don't loan out your Navage. Right. Can I borrow your neti pot?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh yeah, those are my ear boogers or nose boogers. Don't worry about those. Just a little flick.
Like Rice Krispies on the side of
That's right. They go right out. And the tank held my booger juice, not yours. All right. It is 8:16. Let's get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Strong low pressure moving through the southwestern states with gusty wind and some rain coming our way. Showers will be possible by this afternoon. Wind at around 30 miles an hour. This afternoon's high in the mid-60s. We've got a pretty good chance of showers this evening, but clearing up overnight, and our low dropping to about 40, wind gusting to 40 miles an hour. Then we're back to sunshine and windy on Tuesday, low 60s. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 38 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 57%. Winds currently out of the west at 6 miles per hour. Today, we are looking at a 30% chance of showers for this afternoon. Now they're saying mainly after 3. Mostly cloudy, 65 for a high today. Winds will be out of the northeast, 5 to 10 this morning, 15 to 20 out of the south this afternoon. Tonight, we are looking at a 60% chance of rain, mainly before 9. So it looks like 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's our sweet spot for rain today, apparently. Mostly cloudy. Overnight low of 38. Winds out of the southwest tonight, 15 to 20. Gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. Like I said, chance of precipitation's at 60%, but they're not expecting much past less than a tenth of an inch. So nothing to really write home about as far as measurable rain. For your Tuesday, we are looking at patchy blowing dust before noon tomorrow. Sunny and 64, but windy. Winds will be out of the southwest 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, mostly clear, overnight low of 35. Winds will be breezy out of the southwest 15 to 20, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. Winds continue for Wednesday. We're also looking at a 20% chance at some showers before noon. Rain and snow mix, probably more rain. Areas of blowing dust for the afternoon, mostly sunny, high of 51. But those winds are going to be pretty brutal on Wednesday. Out of the southwest, 20 to 25 early. Increasing out of the west, 30 to 35. Could see wind gusts as high as 50 miles per hour on Wednesday with a 20% chance of moisture before noon. Thursday, sunny skies and 44 for a high. Friday, mostly sunny, highs back near 50. And then a little nicer for the weekend, mostly sunny and 61 for Saturday. Partly cloudy and 68 on Sunday. All right, it is 19 minutes after 8. We're going to take a quick 3.5-minute commercial break, and then we're going to play our interview with Robert Sherman and the Walker Aviation Museum. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Martine's Capital Cafe in Roswell offers authentic and highly rated New Mexico food. Explore their amazing menu featuring huevos rancheros or asado with eggs or their green chili stew. And you can't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger, all made from scratch using their finest and freshest ingredients. Open for carryout with curbside delivery or limited dine-in. Just call ahead 624-2111. Martine's Capital Cafe, always pleasing the most refined palate. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th in Roswell.
Roswell Skin Center is here to provide comprehensive skin care to southeastern New Mexico in a friendly and warm environment. Dr. Cometti and his team continue to offer a full scope of medical and cosmetic dermatology services, from treating skin cancer to helping you look your best. Roswell Skin Center is proud to introduce Anna Ingalls, licensed esthetician who specializes in cosmetic treatments including laser rejuvenation, hair removal, facials, chemical peels, and more. Anna is accepting new patients, and when you schedule your first treatment, you can receive $50 off and begin earning valuable discounts to be enjoyed throughout the year. Schedule with Anna by calling 575-208-2509, and for more info on our services and rewards, go to roswellskin.com.
It's been years since we've had a sale, and it's time to change that. Hi, this is Melanie from Glenn's Furniture. We pride ourselves on bringing you the best quality furniture at affordable prices, and I'm pleased to tell you we would like to offer even better discounts during our rare sales event. Here at Glenn's, we want you to feel confident and happy in the decisions you make in our store, so take advantage of this store-wide sale now. Come down to Glenn's Furniture on Union and Alameda, where delivery is free since 1953.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients
patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to 2 amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now, I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing here, and I can tell you it's not always easy being a female in a male-dominated business like roofing. I remember one time I was at a meeting to bid on the roof for a local college, and it was me and 13 men. Well, I won that bid, and I'd like to win your business too. My dad was a contractor, and I've been around building and roofing my whole life. I'm licensed and bonded, and I've forgotten more about roofing than most roofers ever knew in the first place. But what really sets Trustmark apart is an obsessive attention to detail that ensures that everything goes smoothly the first time. I promise we will treat you right with respect, and we will make you happy. So yeah, it might be a bit odd for a woman to own a roofing company, but give us a try. Let us give you an estimate for your roof. I think you'll be glad you called. For all your roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. You burn more calories sleeping than you do watching television. For the ultimate workout, fall asleep in front of the TV. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Walker Aviation Museum, Robert Sherman back with us. Good morning.
Hi, Mike.
How are you
glad
today?
to be here. Good. I'm glad to be here again.
Yeah. How's life at the museum this morning?
It's, I don't know about this morning, but in the last week or two, it's been pretty good. It's, some days it's kind of slow, and other days we get a few more folks.
Sure. Kind of depends on how busy the airport is.
Yeah, how busy it is. If it's a delay on the flight or what, we get more people kind of come in because they're bored and look around. But yeah. And a pretty good group. And
well, and here's something we can remind folks is you don't have to be going on an airplane to go see the museum.
Yeah.
It's open. It's
not
open around the
very
flight
long,
schedule. Yeah, but during the middle of the day, during the flight schedule,
about
it's open.
11:30 or earlier, if 11:30 till about 2 o'clock, we're open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if you have like youth groups or things like that, and you want to make special arrangements to come and do that, you can talk, and the folks at the museum will be happy to work with you on setting up certain things and doing all the special arrangements for certain groups to come through or participate in certain aspects of all the different things that the museum does.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
But so just because it's not right there doesn't mean you can't get involved. But yeah, if you're like one of your lunch breaks one day, if you're want something a little different, come on down and check out the museum and have lunch down there while you're at it too. So.
That's right. I had a little food court thing or right there,
Yeah.
about 70 feet away from where we are.
Yeah, pretty good food right there.
Right. So yeah, we're, people don't know exactly where we are. We're just about 50 feet from the TSA check-in inspection area, right there at the air terminal. So
can't miss you. Can't miss it. It's not too hard to get lost in that airport. It's only so many buildings or so many feet you can go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's now for folks who don't know, the museum really kind of honors two things. One, it honors the base, the Air Force base that called that part of town home for many years. Originally Roswell Army Airfield, and then Walker Air Force Base. So it does spotlight the missions and the things that took place at the museum or at the base during World War II and post World War II. And then, of course, the other facet is the Cold War era with the intercontinental ballistic missiles. They're back in the heart of the Cold War. There this region called home to many of those secret little guys buried out in our deserts. So there's a focus on that too. So really that Cold War era and World War II and kind of the role that this area served to protect our nation.
Yeah, the actual construction of Goddard High School is kind of a witness to the Cold War.
Yeah.
Because the classrooms are all underground. And so they decided when they're going to build that. And then about the time they got it built, the base closed. But still.
Yeah, it's I went to a high school in Maryland that was built Cold War era, and it was got that same underground basement. Half the school was underground like that. Yeah. Right. Or in Artesia, they got, what was it? What school is it? Yeso? Or there's one of the elementary schools that the whole thing's it's not open anymore. I think the school district uses it for storage, but one of the old elementary schools is all underground, and it was all for the Cold War stuff. And I remember reading an article years ago about it, how it's one unique school, all underground and everything there in Artesia. But all that's because of the Cold War and all that.
That's kind of like when my dad on West 8th Street up on Enchanted Hills, they moved to, assisted living when they were older. And only then did I realize when you open the garage, double garage, and pull back those big sheets of plywood, guess what? There's stairs going underneath that my dad had built, and they had a little bunker underneath the house there.
See, as a kid, that'd have been cool to have it.
Oh, yeah, really? Come on, Dad.
Yeah, right? Yeah. How much fun could you have with that?
Yeah.
But so really, that's kind of what the Walker Aviation Museum pays tribute to that. Now, of course, they've kind of adopted a bigger, now, for the last several years, it's focusing not only on spotlighting the history of that, but also promoting STEM technology career fields and really trying to get young folks into aviation career fields and things like that too.
Right. For those out there that, I think everyone knows what STEM is now, but science, technology, engineering, or math type jobs. So that's kind of our other mission. So you're right. We got the history side, and now we have the, youth career side. Matter of fact, when I'm in the museum, you have people come in, and I ask them, I said, by the way, do you have any, I have to look at them first, and I don't want to, offend them. Say, do you have any kids or grandkids that are, 12 to 18 years old or whatever? And if they do, then we give them our website. We give them a card that has the website on it, wafbmuseum.org.
Yep.
And just tell them if they go to that website and you click on education, then a bunch of information comes up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be talking about that today at Kiwanis. But under education, it comes up and it gives you one full page of information of what we do for students and kind of the scenario and some of the YouTube videos we show for career orientation. And then as you continue on that selection under wafbmuseum.org under education, you get a whole list of all the YouTube videos that we show. And actually ones that we have that we don't show, just a whole bunch of them on education or careers, and then on aircraft. And then you come to a place where it says professional pilot training, and that's 38 videos of professional pilot training that if you watched all of it, it would be about 12 hours long.
Wow. And
they can actually click on it right on their cell phone or smartphone and just watch the 10-minute to 20-minute type YouTube right then.
Yeah.
Right there.
And it kind of works out. Now, for us older folks, we don't consume information this way, but a lot of younger folks do, and they'll go and hit like the YouTube videos and watch it. So really, this almost steers them in the direction of the way that they kind of consume items today. Where we turn on the TV and sit down and watch it, they'll sit and watch 10,000 videos off on the internet and things. And so this is kind of like steering them in a direction on how they get this stuff anyway. So it's kind of say, hey, you want to go down a rabbit hole of a bunch of videos on STEM related career fields? We got a whole genre for you to click.
And once you get on that website, depends, if you're on a computer, it comes up on top. And just like the education is written out, education, where on the smartphone is some lines up in the upper right-hand corner. And you click on that and it comes down and gives you a choice. Oh, here's education. You touch that.
Okay.
So then if you scroll on down on the iPhone, it'd be toward the bottom on the regular computer would be on the top, but you come down where you find 3 kind of scary pictures of old guys, me and Bob Donnell, helping the kids with their flight simulators. And right above those color photos is a little block that says the comprehensive list of STEM jobs.
Okay.
So you can click on that, and you go to a different website. As a matter of fact, I found out later that's the same website that Goddard uses. Maybe Roswell High does too.
Okay.
But it's a website that lists right there in front of you 331 jobs that are associated with science, technology, engineering, and math.
Nice.
And what's interesting about those is you can click on one, whether it's, it's just amazing when I look at that list, like, man, I never heard of those jobs. But you click on them and it gives you probably anywhere from, 20 to 30, 50 pages of information, because you can go down on a particular job and it'll list maybe 10 characteristics that are ideal to hold that job.
Okay.
And different skills that are good to have that job.
Okay.
Besides education, training, needing, requirements and stuff like that. So gives you all kinds of continuing information about that particular job once you select one of those. Again, this is on a different website that's just dedicated totally to informing people that are interested in that particular or one of those 331 jobs of more and more information. So gives folks a really good chance. And the reason we kind of did this was a lot of us thinking, when I was in middle school or back in those days, junior high, I wish we had that opportunity to look at different things and say, wow, I hadn't thought about doing that, and then check into it. And, instead of just not having it. And then the final thing you have on that website, if you continue to scroll down, is about 500 local STEM jobs in the Roswell region we pulled out of 3 phone books.
Oh, wow.
And it's listed alphabetically, starting out with accounting, air conditioning, heating contractors, aircraft ground support equipment, on and on, clinics, computer services. So gives local kids a chance to say, well, there's some jobs here in the local area that I might be interested in, give them a call.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing too, is with STEM, it goes into a lot more corners than people realize,
It does. When you see that list of 331, it's kind of like, wow, I didn't even know there was a job called that.
Well, there's a lot of math needed to figure out the way we handle and create things. Yeah. So it's involved there. So yeah, that's what I love about it. It really, and that's the cool part is you guys are showing these kids actual careers and opportunities that are real. And what I mean by that is, you go to school and they'll teach them STEM, math and stuff, and the science and the formulas. But this stuff says, okay, all that math you're learning in school, why is it important? It's so you know how to create this air conditioner, or how to repair this engine on this airplane. That all that math and stuff is going into that thing you're doing, and so you're actually giving these kids something tangible that says, why do I need to learn these formulas and all this? Well, that's why. So that plane can fly. So that computer can do what it's supposed to do. And that's cool. That's what I love about it. It gives a real, concrete thing that they can work towards and understand why they're having to learn all these science equations and math formulas and all this other stuff. So
yeah, we recently had early college class come in that was studying aerospace engineering, of all things. And we came over and they got on the flight simulator and we showed them just some stuff dealing with jet engines on our list of videos that we have that's on the website. And then we did that for one session, and then the next session we coordinated with AirSail.
Okay.
And they went over to AirSail and got a nice tour over there.
See how they do their thing over there and all. Right. And that's something that you guys work with youth groups and stuff all the time. So if you're a youth group out there and you're looking for a cool opportunity for some of the kids in your program to learn some STEM stuff and have fun and see cool airplanes and cool things like that, then please reach out to the museum. Let's see what we can do. And this is, I know yourself and Bob and everyone over there love that. That's the fun part, is when you get kids and families coming in here and want to check this stuff out and see it all. It makes you guys the whole reason you guys are out there doing this stuff. So So we love it. So
right now, our current board members are myself and Allie Bishop is our treasurer, Katie Yates, Sandy Correa, Secretary. I'm sorry, Sandy, if I mispronounced your last name. Bob Donnell, Juliana Halverson, Judy Armstrong, Jerry Cloffer, Friar Yorak Nowaki, Father Nowaki, and Stephen Miller and Ted Smith. And General Murray, who used to be here, remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've had General Murray.
He wants us to kind of keep him in absentee. So when we send out emails, I always send him a copy. So he kind of
even though he's retired and now living his life, but he still has a love and passion for the museum and pops in and checks in from time to time. So
yeah, everybody probably knows that story about why I always told him one time when he was here. He's always a really serious guy, and I said, I wondered why I felt a lot more mature than you are. It's kind of hard for me to say as a colonel to the general, but
right.
Retired.
He's a young whippersnapper.
But we come to find out that I was born about 13 hours before he was. The same day.
A lot can happen at 13 hours.
13 hours, man,
You can live a whole life at 13 hours.
That's right. By the way, I've got a couple little stories and things.
Yeah, let's talk a little fun history.
One of the, and this doesn't relate necessarily to Walker, but it's kind of a military thing. I was in the military for about 30 years with the Air Force. Not about, but 30 years and 1 month, I think, whatever it was.
One month, 2 hours and 27 minutes.
There you go. But while I was in England at RAF Falconberry, this was like during the height of the Cold War. This is like in 1983. And we were inserting the TR-1 into the European theater, and the TR-1 was another name for the U-2 spy plane. And I think the TR-1 kind of came out because it was kind of more, after the shoot down and stuff, it was kind of more politically acceptable to say TR-1 versus, Tactical Reconnaissance 1 versus U-2. Oh, that's a spy plane. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, you get a certain connotation. Yeah, I get you.
And a gentleman I'd worked with before, because I'd been at Beale for 3 years with the U-2 and SR-71, but we were there, and one of the guys, airman working there, was Eric Mays. And Eric was no little guy. He was about 6'5", 6'6", and about 230 pounds, but total muscle. I don't think he had any fat on him. But the thing about Eric, he got to be known as Big E, so everybody called him Big E. And we'd be when we were at Beale, we had people scattered around the world, and they would be gone for 2 or 3 months, 4 months at a time, and we would have to carry the all of the equipment for the pilots, their pressure suits, helmets, boots, and all that stuff, and it all went in a box. And that box was about 105 pounds, but Eric was known. Everybody else was carrying. We'd carry the boxes out to the airplane, the KC-135s, when they were getting ready to deploy. And it'd be 2 people carrying the box, but Eric would just grab a box, hold it up over his head, and walk out to the aircraft.
Yeah, there was always one of those guys.
That was always one of those guys, yeah. So when we were in England, he got selected as the Airman of the Quarter. And then one morning, I was in my office, and knock on the door, and the door's open, and he just comes. I said, "Come on in." He comes on in and stands at attention, salutes, and lays a piece of paper on my desk. And he had recently just received a certificate for Airman of the Quarter. And he just said, "Sir, I'm returning the Airman of the Quarter because I don't deserve this because what I did last night." I go, Oh, okay, Eric.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about this. He said, "I'm sorry, sir. I had a phone call in the hallway in the barracks, and my girlfriend dumped me, and it really made me angry and upset. And I went back to my room, and I'd accidentally locked myself out. So I just jerked on the handle, and he ripped the door frame right out of the wall." This is the kind of guy he was.
Strong dude.
Strong dude, yeah. So he said, that kind of damage, I don't deserve to be Airman of the Quarter. And I said, okay, wait a minute. Let's think about this, man. I said, okay, Eric, we're at the height of the Cold War here, trying to prepare a new weapon system to be used against the Russians. I personally need about 24 more guys exactly like you that are ready and willing to kick some serious
tail.
Tail. Okay, tail. Yeah. So get out of here and ask the personnel repairing your door how you can help them. And by the way, take your Airman of the Quarter certificate that you earned and get out of my office. You're still number one in my book. Now get back to work. So
well, it just shows the integrity this man had to come in and
there
say,
you go. That's why he was Airman of the Quarter. He
exactly.
Just yeah.
Well, that's the definition of integrity, doing the right thing even when no one's watching.
And out there working hard. So I saw him at a reunion a while back, and he was still a big guy. But that was fun.
That's cool. I imagine that's got to be like when you do that. Do you personality still in them when they're?
Oh yeah.
Because I imagine a guy like that. Do you instantly picture him from?
Yeah, Big E is always going to be Big E.
That's cool.
Big Eric Mays.
Yeah. And to be honest, those are the kind of stories of people. It's like, why do you love the military? And why was it your time in the military? It's stories like that you're like, that's why. That's the great part about the United States
and there's
military.
Several stories, I could tell that there are things that happened that were kind of embarrassing for us, or something happened and it was kind of funny, and we all look back on it and chuckle.
Sure.
At the time, we weren't chuckling, but...
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hindsight makes things a lot funnier sometimes than it did when it was going down.
The 4-star, commander of Strategic Air Command showed up at Alconbury, and we were going to show him some stuff. And... we're all standing at attention, and our wing commanders there were all lined up just like little soldiers, getting ready to meet the general when he gets off the airplane.
Yeah.
So the plane comes to a stop, his kind of special modified KC-135, and then a Chief Master Sergeant opens the door and looks out the door, and he says, "How do you expect the general to get out of the aircraft?" At that point, we realized that the stairs that we were going to move up to the plane, somebody in there like, "What the heck's this doing out here?" He went ahead and put it back in the hangar.
Oh.
So it was no way for the general to get out unless maybe to drop a ladder and just crawl down.
Hey, jump, I'll catch you.
Yeah. So we were scrambling trying to get the ladder back.
The proper ladder
so
to get in.
The 4-star could get out of the aircraft. And after that happened, I believe the wing commander appointed a young captain, and he said, "He's coming back in 3 months.
You're going to make sure that
and
ladder."
if that ladder's not there, you are history." so that poor captain, he was in charge of making sure that ladder was there when that plane came to a stop in the next visit. So.
Yeah. Well, see, that they didn't put a lieutenant in charge. They put a captain, so they knew it would get done.
That's right. So anyway, those are just little fun stories. At the time, they weren't fun, but in the way they were.
Yeah, I mean, they are, sure. Because you go back, you probably went home and told your family that night, and everyone had a good laugh about it. That's
the wing commander we worked for, he had a thing about, you could use an umbrella, but oh my gosh, don't let him see you using an umbrella. You just walk around in England with it raining with your just a regular old cap on and just, I'm sorry, that's the way it is. You're just going to get your head wet.
That's right. You got to do it. That's not
You're
military
not
issue.
going to walk around on my base, me as a wing commander, with an umbrella. That's I don't think so.
And in England, of all places, where it rained all the time.
He says, you don't see Army guys out there with umbrellas, like, okay, we're Air Force, but still, we're going to try to man up a little bit here.
See, that's where I always joke. It's like, well, we're smarter than those guys are. We use our technology to our advantage. So.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's pretty good. Of course, we'd love to remind folks that, as we said here earlier, we were talking about your board and everything. Always looking for volunteers too.
Absolutely.
If you would like to be a docent, to put it this way, if you're kind of thinking, well, gee, I'd love to, I love that museum, but it's only open during the middle of the day here. I'd like to, have it available more hours. Well, with more volunteers, we can do that.
That's absolutely true.
So if you're interested, please reach out. I mean, you've got some great volunteers right now. I know we had Ted on a couple months ago talking.
Ted, myself, and Bob Donnell.
He's a walking encyclopedia when it comes to this stuff.
He's having some issues, family he's having to take care of, and he's over in Fredericksburg, Texas. But he keeps telling me every time he calls on the phone, he'll talk to you for a pretty long time because he wants to tell you all the book he's reading now about the history of Walker.
He loves to gather information. He loves to share
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
He's a walking history book. But
and based on his career in the military, it probably fits him to a T. So.
Yeah, that's right. He was
as far as
retired Army intel guy and all kinds of stuff. But so far, we want to thank supporters of our museum, Pioneer Bank, Featherstone Development, Glenn Furniture, Six Bomb Wing Group, David Petroleum, and Gerald Murray sent us some money. And in the past, Roswell Toyota has been a key person in XL Energy. We've got our flight simulators from a grant from them. And some of the physicians in town and doctors and other people. So
I don't know how many times we hear organizations and they always want to thank people helping us, and time again, Crumlin Auto Group, one of their dealerships, and Excel Energy are always right there in the forefront as partners with these organizations. So.
Also, Steve Griffin, and of course, Steve gave us all this weather equipment. He was a professional weather guy in the Navy. Steve Griffin, Jim Williams, and Bob Donnell's idea of we put up a pegboard, 5 4x8 pegboards on the south wall on that reinforced concrete wall that we use a nail gun for. got the nails. Got the TSA pretty excited about it. But anyway,
a minor security issue.
So it's a lot better situation now for hanging pictures there in our museum. So we that's been upgraded, and so that's a good thing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So. If you'd like to volunteer, please go to the website, again, wafbmuseum.org. Speaking of, if you'd like to donate and to help financially, there is a Donate Now button on the website if you want. But you can also, they also have the Amazon Smile, which when you go to shop through Amazon, if you shop through the Smile portal of the Walker Aviation Museum, all of your purchases that you make on Amazon, a small percentage of the purchase price will get donated to the Walker Aviation Museum. It doesn't cost you any extra. You go on Amazon and buy what you normally buy. You pay what you pay, but Amazon donates like a couple pennies off each purchase that you make through that portal to the museum. So you'll find the link to it at the Walker Aviation Museum website there. If you click that link, and then once you're there, I'd go ahead and bookmark it. That way, anytime you go to Amazon, you click on that bookmark, and you're helping out the museum every time you do that. Absolutely. But it's again through the website wafbmuseum.org. You'll just see the Amazon tab there. It's like shop Amazon through this tab, and you click, and you'll save some money, or you'll help the museum that way too. And of course, if you want to reach out and get involved as a docent or serve on the board, or want to get involved in any way, shape, or form, you'll find all the contact information that you need to there at the website as well too.
Right. So. Do we have time to give a quick thing on General Walker?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, our base, Roswell Army Airfield, was renamed to recognize General Walker, who was raised in New Mexico and born in New Mexico. But anyway, so people say, how come or how did our base get to be called Walker Air Force Base?
He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he was. And actually, several things about him before he was killed, very significant accomplishments. But anyway, Kenneth Walker was born in July 17th, 1898 in Los Cerrillos, New Mexico.
And so technically he's older than the airplane.
That's right. 1898. And he died on January 5th, 1943, just about a month before I was born, in the area of Rabaul, New Britain, New Guinea. And he was a United States Army aviator and United States Army Air Forces Brigadier General who exerted a significant influence on the development of air power doctrine. Walker joined the United States Army in 1917 after the American entry into World War I as an aviator and became a flying instructor at that time. In 1920, he received a commission in the regular Army. He was a commanding officer of air intelligence in the Philippines in 1922. He returned to the United States in 1925 and graduated from the Air Corps Tactical School in Langley Field, Virginia. And he was a forceful advocate of the efficacy, of strategic bombardment. He was a champion for strategic bombardment, and he published a lot of articles on that subject. He participated in the Air Corps Tactical School's development of the doctrine it was called industrial web theory, which called for the precision attacks against carefully selected critical industrial targets. Now, this is coming up right before World War II. Mm-hmm. Okay, so shortly before the U.S. entered World War II in 1941, he was one of four officers that devised the Air War Plans Division -1. That was a blueprint for the imminent air war against Germany, and it called for the creation of an enormous Air Force to win the war through strategic bombardment. So he was a strategic bombardment champion from the beginning.
Wow.
In 1942, Walker was promoted to brigadier general and transferred to the Southwest Pacific, where he became commanding general, 5th Bomber Command, and under the 5th Air Force. General Kinney and his boss, General MacArthur, told General Walker to avoid flying operational missions so he wouldn't get himself killed. But General Walker been leading from the front and not sitting back at home on home base. And then on January 5th, 19 shot down in a B-17F. The B-17 was named San Antonio Rose, tail number 458, and killed while he was leading a day-light bombing raid against Japanese shipping in the harbor of Rabaul, New Britain, New Guinea. And he's the highest-ranking missing in action from World War II still. They still have not found his body.
Wow.
And after his death, he received the Congressional Medal of Honor from President Roosevelt. And some of the other medals he won was, well, not one, but a Purple Heart, a Legion of Merit, Silver Star, and Distinguished Service Cross.
Wow.
And in January 13th, 1948, the Roswell Army Airfield was renamed Walker Air Force Base.
Wow. So interesting. Yeah, I knew some of that. We talked about it here in the past. But
yeah,
he's a real.
The fact that he was killed in action and got the Medal of Honor, so then they named. But he was a key individual dealing with strategic bombardment strategy.
He's kind of one of the early, fathers of tactical, tacticians of air warfare. It's kind of, he's. You look at like our forefathers of our country. He's kind of one of the forefathers of tactical aviation here, and how probably some of the tactics and stuff they even teach today. He had a hand in, some of the initial stages of some of that. Obviously aircraft's changed quite a bit in since his time from our time. So I imagine some of the strategies are different, but that it's kind of neat to see his contribution to the big scope of ultimately how we protect our country today.
Right.
Pretty cool.
By the way, one of the things I didn't mention, and I want to thank Juliana Halverson, city council lady. She's the one that got all this information that we accumulated for STEM and got that onto our website, so people can just go to the website and click and get all that information. So thank you, Juliana, for getting that up there.
When she's not, being a city councilor and doing all, she loves photography and technology, and she generally is the one who...
She's generally what we call the Energized Bunny.
Yes.
Energizer Bunny. She's always doing everything, helping us out.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, she was about 10 different places on the weekend. She's like that every weekend, but, that's kind of... So odds are you've seen her at somewhere.
That's true.
Good deal. But come on out. Come visit the museum. Come out today. Come out, but like I said...
Yeah, Bob Donnell's out there today holding down the fort.
So. Come down and visit Bob and ask him some questions and check out all the stuff down there. And like I said, it generally follows the flying schedule. So, around middays, you go there around lunchtime. During the week, you're going to see the museum open. So come on by and check that out. And like I said, always looking for, if you have an interest in volunteering, in whether as a docent or to hang some pictures and do that kind of stuff, whatever it is, would love to have your involvement. And of course, don't forget youth groups, any groups really. You're interested in coming out and working with the STEM or doing some of the stuff with the museum, partnering up on some of that. Don't hesitate to reach out. That's what they do. They work with groups all the time, trying to give them opportunities to get exposed to all this STEM technology. So
that's right.
Good deal. Did we get it all, Robert?
Well, not all. Oh, yeah, we got
all for now.
All we can get for now. Yeah.
All of the news that's fit to read, or whatever that old saying was. But
that's right.
Anyway, thank you, Robert. As always, appreciate the visits, and we look forward to our next one here. And in the meantime, just get on out there and check out the museum and check out the website, wafbmuseum.org. And before you head out, go hit there and make a donation and read a little bit more about the museum.
One last thing.
Yeah.
I mentioned it last month, but Countdown 1945. That was published in 2020 by Chris Wallace, was the author.
Okay.
Number one bestseller. Really easy to read. It's the countdown as starts out, several months before dropping of the bomb in Hiroshima. But it talks about all the stuff going on with Truman and stuff like that. But it's very easy to read, and Bob Donnell said the best book he had read in a long time, and I feel the same thing. I gave it to my barber, and he goes, wow, that was great.
Nice.
So anyway, Countdown 1945 by Chris Wallace.
Excellent.
Okay,
Check it
bye.
out. Your recommended reading for this week.
Recommended homework.
There you go.
Next month. Okay.
Thank you, Robert, as always. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
All right, 7:54. Quick update for news and breaks before more news.
So anyway, Countdown 1945 by Chris Wallace.
Excellent.
Okay,
Check it
bye.
out. Your recommended reading for this week.
Recommended homework.
There you go.
Next month. Okay.
Thank you, Robert, as always. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
All right, 7:54. Quick update for news and breaks before more news. Don't go away.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. The toughest week for Wall Street in nearly 2 months came to a quiet end on Friday as stock indexes drifted to a mixed finish. CSX Railroad has promised to give more of its workers the paid sick time they demanded in contract negotiations last fall. CSX is the only major freight railroad so far to agree to give its employees sick time in the wake of a contentious negotiation process last year that ended only after Congress stepped in to block a potential strike. Russia announced Friday that it will cut oil production by 500,000 barrels per day next month after Western countries capped the price of its crude over its action in Ukraine. Analysts have said one possible Russian response to the cap would be to slash production to try to raise oil prices, which could eventually flow through to higher gasoline prices at the pump as less oil makes its way to the global market. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Lots of folks are buying used vehicles these days. And you know, they're just as proud of them as if they were brand new. And why not? The pre-owned cars and trucks at Roswell Ford look and smell brand new. And Roswell Ford stands behind every pre-owned vehicle with a 3-day money-back guarantee and a complimentary 90-day 4,000-mile warranty. Roswell Ford has more than 400 vehicles in stock, by far the biggest selection in this part of the state, with new Fords arriving all the time, so it only makes sense to come see us first when you're ready to start car shopping. Speaking of pride, our customers are just tickled with our mobile service van that comes to your home or work and turns your driveway or parking lot into a service bay. We can take care of routine maintenance like oil and filter changes, tire rotations, and battery service, and you don't have to be without your vehicle. Of course, some restrictions apply. For great selection and great service, you can count on your friends at the Tailgate Nation.
Heart disease is one of the leading causes of death in New Mexico, but it's preventable. If you have high blood pressure or cholesterol, are overweight, smoke, or have other risk factors, it's time to talk to a cardiologist. The cardiology team at Artesia General Hospital has the experience and latest diagnostic technologies to help you identify your risk factors and diagnose and treat any heart health concerns you might face. One beat at a time, we're here for every heart. Request your cardiology appointment today at artesiageneral.com/heart.
Valentine's Day is almost here, and Dairy Queen on North Main in Roswell has a sweet treat for your sweetheart. Cupid Cakes. That's right, a delicious and delectable Dairy Queen treat, perfectly sliced for 2 and priced right at a sweet $12.99. Choose one of 3 flavors, like the Triple Truffle Blizzard Cupid Cake, the Choco Cherry Love Cupid Cake, or the Dipped Strawberry Cupid Cake. It's the perfect treat for 2 to show your sweetheart how special they really are. Pick up your Cupid Cakes today from Dairy Queen on North Main in Roswell, where happy tastes good.
Bill Cunningham is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
And we're closing in on 9 o'clock. Town Hall News is up next. We'll be back on the other side of news. Do not go away, please.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Well, the Biden team has apparently overcome its initial reluctance to shoot down unidentified objects in U.S. airspace. A 4th such object went to a watery grave in Michigan over the weekend.
On orders from President Biden, a fighter jet shot down an unknown object over Lake Huron. General Glenn Van Herk is head of NORAD and U.S. Northern Command.
If it is a threat, I'll shoot it down.
This follows the shooting down of a big balloon from China off the South Carolina coast. Objects were also shot down over Canada and Alaska. China now says more than 10 U.S. high-altitude balloons have flown in its airspace during the past year without its permission. Ed Donahue, Washington.
The death toll from the twin earthquakes in Turkey and Syria has risen above 35,000. It's been a week. Hopes for successful rescues dwindle. As rescue operations wrap up in Syria, residents in the northwest grapple with a new and dismal reality.
Many residents spent Sunday digging through the debris of their destroyed homes, picking up the remnants of their shattered lives and looking for ways to heal after the latest in a series of humanitarian disasters to hit the war-battered region. The UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs has visited the Turkish-Syrian border and acknowledged in a statement that Syrians have been left looking for international help that hasn't arrived. Aid convoys face many hurdles accessing the rebel enclave of northwestern Syria that largely depends on outside aid for survival. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Nikki Haley apparently about to join Donald Trump seeking the GOP presidential nomination. We expect an announcement from her on Wednesday. Nice rally shaping up on Wall Street this morning. The Dow's up 276 points. The Nasdaq ahead 134, and the S&P is up 35 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
It's been a mass rally outside the Israeli parliament protesting an overhaul of the country's judicial system.
The tone of political debate in Israel is the most acrimonious known in years. Tens of thousands of people have been joining weekly protests over planned judicial changes. Today, hundreds of private companies are allowing their staff to join a general strike. Members of Parliament are due to vote for the first time on a bill that would grant the government full control over the appointment of judges, including to the Supreme Court, and severely limit the country's highest court's ability to strike down legislation. Critics claim that the overhaul will upset the system of political checks and balances and undermine democracy.
The BBC's Yolanda Nell. Tens of thousands of Israelis hoisting flags, blowing horns and chanting democracy and no to dictatorship were involved in that demonstration at the Parliament building, the largest such protest outside the Knesset in years. News and analysis, townhall.com. Recent political survey concludes President Biden not a major factor for Democratic voters in last year's midterm elections.
According to AP VoteCast, roughly 1 in 6 voters for Democratic House candidates said they disapproved of Joe Biden's job performance. 2/3 of these voters said the president was not a factor, good or bad, in their midterm decisions. Those findings suggest that GOP attacks on Mr. Biden may have little effect on Democratic voters. But they also suggest that the Democrats' strong showing in November might not translate into energy around the president's re-election. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Auckland residents hunkering down, preparing for Cyclone Gabrielle. It's been just 2 weeks since a record-breaking storm swamped New Zealand's largest city and killed 4 people. This morning, much of Auckland has ground to a halt. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. day. The travel witch, and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Trace Inviernos
of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell Talk FM. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope your Monday's going well. The weather's not going to be kind of crappy the next couple days. Windy, rainy.
Yeah.
Mostly windy.
It's that end of wintertime, muck.
Like today's a little breezy, but like tomorrow and Wednesday are supposed to get just downright windy. Bad. There's some rain chances in there, but I think it's mostly the wind that's going to be a problem. But we'll see.
Today is going to be windy, misty, probably a couple other strippers.
But we'll see. We'll see what all shapes up. You know how weather is here.
Yeah.
We get a whole lot of nothing sometimes. So. But then again, there's some times where we didn't expect it, and we get just hammered. So
yeah.
It is what it is. But
soak in what you get.
Exactly.
You get what you get, you don't throw a fit. How about that?
That's right. You take what you give you. You will like it. But happy Monday, everybody. Hope your Monday's going well.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine if you're a Chiefs fan, you're with a bit of a pep in your step this morning.
Part of me wishes I'd hung out and seen Chris's reaction last night.
I imagine he was very happy. Yes.
Yeah. It was. Yes. And it was right down to the end, the last couple of seconds.
It was a good game.
That field goal is what did it.
It's a good game. That's all. If my team's not there, which it hasn't been since 1991,
right?
Then I can hope for is a good game.
Yeah.
So I got that. So I can't complain. So
yeah,
another year of. See, and now we're at a point where we're start fresh. We're all Super Bowl champs again. We all now. It's like new season. My team could win it all next year. There's that deep down in the back of all these fans' heads. New season. My team's taking it next year. Cowboys fans are now hoping for Super Bowl again. Even though there's a few Cleveland Browns fans saying next year's our year, boys.
I think that you guys kind of sit on an interesting little precipice. If
Washington?
Yeah. If what everyone wants to happen actually happens, Snyder sells.
Well, yeah,
I think that there's you guys are in a good position.
Well, it depends on who buys them.
True.
And when that happens.
I listened to a conversation. Dan Soder was talking about. He's friends with McDaniel, and he was like among the owners of teams. He's like, Snyder is by far the most hated of every human being in the organization.
It is. He's a mess. He's not liked. He's considered a jerk by everybody. He's alienated fans. He's done shenanigans. There's all been kinds of harassment and stuff that pretty much gets swept under the rug because of him.
But he's strong-armed his way in, and he doesn't want to let go of his grip. He's the Vince McMahon of the NFL.
Yeah. Well, the NFL is a little more powerful than the people that Vince McMahon faced.
That's true.
So
that's true.
He's going to sell
dealing
the
with
team.
a lot more money.
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
going to sell the team. They'll force him out. He's hoping to get $7 million. I don't think any of the offers are anywhere near $7 million. So that's why there's a bit of a kerfuffle right now. Because I think like Bezos is in there and another
million
guy.
or $7 billion?
Billion. Did I say million? I meant billion.
I was like,
billion.
Hell, I might make a bid.
Yeah, no.
That's a
billion.
bargain.
Billion with a B. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, The Rock is. It's
The Rock's.
Yeah, Dwayne Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his. Or is it USFL?
That's which is funny because this is why I think that it's going to fail for the third time. Because the first time it failed because of ineptitude.
And COVID. COVID killed. XFL was getting some legs, and then COVID hit.
No, the first time back in the early 2000s, it failed because of ineptitude, because of a bad business deal that McMahon made with the NBC people at that point. The 2020, it failed because of COVID. This time, I believe it's going to fail because of direct competition with USFL.
Although they were in competition with USFL in COVID, and they were successful.
Was USFL running?
Yeah, they were running some games, and XFL was successful for some franchises. Like Washington and Houston.
Yeah. I remember a few
were very popular. They were and they were actually making money, those franchises. And then COVID hit and it all kind of went by the wayside.
Right.
But yeah, because remember they had the old Oklahoma coaching the Texas team, and what's his name from Artesia was going to be quarterbacking. I interviewed him. He went on to play for Pittsburgh as a backup mostly. I can't remember his name. He was the Artesia quarterback.
I know who you're talking
about 10, 15 years ago. Anyway, he was supposed to be the quarterback for that, and I think he was. I don't remember. But, yeah. But anyway, we'll see. Those all fire up here in the spring.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, but we'll see. But I can't remember what started this. But anyway, we have a long interview this hour, so probably want to get her going here in just a bit. We had the Charleses. Charles is in charge last Friday. We had Under Sheriff Charles Easlis from the Chaves County Sheriff's Department and Lieutenant Charles Drake from the Chaves County Sheriff's Department join us. So we had a great little conversation with them. We'll play that for you here in just a few minutes. But we need to get her going because it's like a 40-minute interview.
It's a long one.
It's a long one. But I forget what I was going to say about the NFL, but it just...
We were talking about Snyder.
But it looks like a lot of the bids are around 5 to 6 million or billion. And he's wanting 7. And so that might delay things. But there was a thing last week that... Gosh, why can't I not remember this guy's name anymore? He's now the head coach of the Broncos. He was coach of the Saints there. Anyway, before he took a job with the Broncos here last week.
Sean Payton?
Payton, thank you. Payton was on an interview last week in a Washington, D.C. sports show saying that he almost was partnered in with a group that's buying the Commanders or wants to buy the Commanders, and they were going to make him like the dude in charge and here build the football team, and they were going to give him the reins. And he was on a DC thing saying, he almost considered that and ended up going to Denver. But if you're Ron Rivera, current head coach of the team, who still has a job and is still not fired and doesn't know if he's got a new boss coming or not, what does that tell you? It's like, well, dude, my time here. And so now we're hearing like Sam Howell, he's Ron Rivera. Sam Howell's the quarterback that played at the end there and won, and he's rookie we drafted in the 5th round. But they're saying, he's going to be our starter.
Oh, wow.
Like it's his to lose, basically. Never say never. They've got some off.
Well, they put a lot on him this season.
Yeah, but here's my thing: is if Ron Rivera's gone, it don't matter what he says because whoever they bring in may love Sam Howell or may say, "Get this clown out of here."
Right.
They
new regime, new plan.
So yes, I'm excited, but I'm also confused.
Sure.
I have no idea what I'm going to see this offseason. I could see. New owner, I could see nothing change. So I don't know. It could go either way. So
it'll be fun to watch either way.
Yes. It is 9:14. Let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Strong low pressure moving through the southwestern states with gusty wind and some rain coming our way. Showers will be possible by this afternoon. Wind at around 30 miles an hour. This afternoon's high in the mid-60s. We've got a pretty good chance of showers this evening, but clearing up overnight and our low dropping to about 40. Wind gusting to 40 miles an hour. Then we're back to sunshine and windy on Tuesday, low 60s. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 45 here in Roswell. Humidity's at 46%. Winds are out of the northwest at 5 miles per hour. 30% chance of showers, mainly after 3 today. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and 65. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, we're looking at a 60% chance of showers likely, mainly before 9 p.m. Mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 38 degrees. Southwest winds 15 to 20, gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. Tuesday, we have a high wind watch that will kick in at midnight and remain in effect through 5 p.m. It's going to be windy tomorrow. We are looking at a 60%, We are looking at a pretty good chance of wind here. Patchy blowing dust before noon, sunny 64, winds out of the southwest 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. Wednesday, we're looking at a 20% chance at some rain and snow showers before noon. And then the wind kicking up, mostly sunny otherwise, and 51. Winds out of the southwest, 20 to 25, gusting as high as 30 to 35 miles per hour. Could see wind gusts later in the day as high as 50. So pretty windy on Wednesday, too. Thursday, sunny and 44, sunny and 50 on Friday. And then the weekend, a little warmer, mostly sunny, 61 Saturday, partly cloudy, 68 on Sunday. All right, 9:15, we're going to take a quick commercial break, then we're going to play our interview with the Charleses from the Chaves County Sheriff's Department. Don't go away.
Every piece of land has a story, written by those who work it. But everyone's story is different. So the question is, how will you tell yours? Behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, mower, or Gator utility vehicle. Run with us and start telling your story today.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
This is the owner of Trustmark Roofing, and nothing makes us happier than telling our customers no. As in, no pricing games. We give you a guaranteed price and then we stand by it. No surprises, no gotchas. No obscurity. We don't just tell you what's wrong with your roof. We record our inspections and show you. No lemons. We install premium roofing materials from top brands like Owens Corning. No shortcuts. We're in the 2% of roofers with the Owens Corning Preferred Contractor Certificate for our local area. This means we offer precision installation and the longest warranties. Want a beautiful new roof that's built to last? Choose Trustmark Roofing, the roofer that loves to tell our customers no. For an estimate, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. A group of 12 or more cows is called a flink. If you have only 11 cows, that's called a lot of cow pies. Here's Mike Winters. Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 18 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Chaves County Sheriff's Department. Of course, we have Under Sheriff Charles Eastlist and Lieutenant Charles Drake as well. Good morning, gentlemen. How's life treating everybody?
Good. It's Friday. We've made it through the week. Another week down.
Yeah.
It's amazing that we're halfway through February, or almost halfway through February.
Yeah.
And
when y'all started with a busy, you
God.
always start with busy weeks, but I know, of course, it was in the news and all that. They had a little bit of a dust up Monday over at the detention center. I guess they had a group of people that I don't know. I guess they didn't want to follow the rules for a little bit, and so.
They thought they had all the answers.
So outside agencies had to come and assist with the detention there to get everything tamped back down. And I think you guys and the state police were there to basically get that back under control, which is exactly what happened. So
yeah, it was actually us and the Roswell Police Department K-9 unit.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw some state police cars out there on the pictures. And
they were
stuff,
waiting
too.
to take their prisoners in, I guess.
Okay.
Or we had locked down the facility.
After you guys handle business, you and the RPD.
Well,
I will take it.
By state statute and by state law, the sheriff's department is responsible for the detention center.
Sure.
So anytime there's an uproar, or just like
it's
like
just
the
not
prisons,
their jurisdiction.
Right. Just like the prisons, the state police are responsible for the prisons.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, if it's a federal prison, you have the FBI and things like that.
Sure.
So, long story short, it started about 9 o'clock in the morning, and apparently they put everybody in a open space population
rec yard
in the rec yard on the north end.
Okay.
So they could do a search. They were looking for contraband. They found the contraband that they were looking for. When they went to move them back, they opened the doors, and 4 or 5 of them tried to rush them. So they shut the door, and they didn't have a full staff to be able to deal with that. So they talked to them and fed them through there, left them in there. They weren't, at that time they were just mouthing off.
They just isolated them to keep them from basically getting involved with the rest of the population.
Sure, trying to talk to them.
Sure.
Several hours went by, and it started to escalate inside the pod. They started destroyed one of the cameras. They tried to destroy the other one. They started tearing up anything that they had.
Jamming the door.
Yeah, sure. Jamming the doors and things like that. So at about 2 o'clock, I get a call from Justin, the Justin Porter.
Mm-hmm.
He's a jail administrator, and he said, "You're not gonna believe this." And I said, "At this point, I'll believe anything." And he said, I have 25, 28, something like that, inmates that are in this rec yard. We put them in there for this reason, but now they're refusing to come out. And I said, okay. I said, well, he said, we don't have the ability to get them out. So that's what I'm calling you all for. I said, okay. So I spoke to, and this is, by the way, this is Lieutenant Drake.
Yes.
He oversees the patrol division of the sheriff's office.
Okay. So you're the guy that
recently promoted.
So are you the officer that all the other deputies have to butter up to get the good shifts?
It's the sergeants that butter up. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they all have to look up to him. So.
Right. Oh, literally. He is like 8 feet tall.
Right.
Yep, that is true.
That's it. So I talked to him. We called in the night shift. I told Justin, I said, they've got 1 hour. So at about 3 o'clock, called him back and I said, any progress? He said, no. So notified the sheriff and he met us out there and we all met out there, did a quick briefing, stacked up in the hallway, and Justin Porter and the sheriff talked to him one more time. We could hear them in the pod just running amok. They had taken their shirts and wrapped them around their face for the gas.
Sure.
And OC and things like that. They'd wrapped them around their arms for fighting. And
they're ready for war.
They were good old fashioned brawl is what I called it. And so they declined to give up peacefully. So at that point, we had our helmets and all of our stuff, and he and I were in the front. We had two shield guys in front of us, and we had beanbag shotguns. And whenever we got to the door, they still didn't want to comply. We introduced CS gas, which is if you've never had to deal with
tear
it.
gas.
It's
designed to kind of make you choke up, blind you, and incapacitate you without doing any permanent damage.
Exactly. It burns your nose. It burns your esophagus.
Basically the same stuff if you're in basic training and they put you in the gas chamber out. Same stuff.
It's the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
And so obviously some of those guys and some of the deputies had never been exposed to that, so that was quite.
So a few deputies got gas too.
They did, yeah.
It was an equal opportunity gassing.
Yeah, everybody got gas out there. So long story short, we deploy a couple of stun grenades and get about a third of them to half of them to lay down. The other ones wanted to fight, so he rips the door. They unlock it and he rips the door open. They had stuffed a bunch of stuff in there, and as soon as we came in, told them anybody standing up is going to get shot with the beanbag. And you only have to. It's not how many. It's just everybody watching one.
Sure.
And once that one decides to be the example, everybody else.
Like, you know what? I'm going to decide to lay down now.
It was like a third of them. They heard the canines barking because we had our canine and RPD's canines out there. So a third of them went down when they heard the dogs barking.
Sure. Well, people don't realize that those dogs command respect.
Yeah, and then the gas got the other third down, and then the shotguns got the other third down.
So, good deal. So, ultimately, no one was hurt major. I mean, I think a couple people had to get their eyes flushed and everything.
Yeah.
But as far as hurt, nobody was hurt or nothing like that. And at the end of the day, everyone got to go home that night, including the people, their home, the jail cell. But they got to go home that night, too. So, that's a good thing.
That's the main thing, and that's what a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people, they think that this is what we look forward to, and these are the things. The realization is this isn't something we want to do.
Sure.
It's a liability on them. It's a liability on us, and realistically, we're a life-saving organization, not a life-taking organization, and we would much rather talk somebody, and those of us that are getting older, and take a little longer to recover, would much rather talk people out of something.
Let's face it, it's like anything else. And this is why the sheriff's department and every other organization has leadership. You know what I mean? Yes. When you guys were young and dumb, when you first start the academy, you're ready to go through the brick wall because that's what young men do when we're young and dumb. That's just how we're wired. Sorry, that's what happens.
We've all done it.
Yeah. But as we get a little older, a little wiser, and then you get into the Danny Glover, I'm too old for this crap mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then you start working smarter, not harder. And it's like, all right, let's negotiate. all right, yeah, I can do it if I have to, but man, I don't want to because there's so many other different ways for this to go down. So, and that's where, and so when you got those brand new deputies, and I'll run through that wall, Sheriff. I got it.
Step aside.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. But let's try our way first, and then we'll get to that one.
We kind of equate that to, if you've ever seen The Replacements. Danny, when he says, "Get me the ball," he goes, "I'll get you the ball." Get me the ball.
Give me the ball.
I'll get you the ball. I got you the ball. And you just got to calm him down. That's kind of how the younger deputies and officers are.
Absolutely.
And we all went through it. But
and that's
now,
the way it should be, because we want that youth and energy and passion in your law enforcement. You just gotta, and that's where you guys come in, and how to harness it, how to use that for good.
If somebody takes off running, it's good to have those younger deputies.
Exactly. You're like, better him than me.
Yeah,
we're like,
I ate one too many pizzas on my lunch shifts, man.
It's funny because this is my 25th year, and we out there we even had that. We had the young guys that were ready to rock and roll, and he and I are at the front, and not because we want to be at the front. It's just I'm taking a beanbag shotgun.
Sure.
These younger guys are going to be wrestling. I'm done with that.
Sure.
If I can.
You've earned your stripes literally here to say I don't have to do that anymore.
But you have those, and it's funny to watch them whenever you say, "Hold on." Give it just a minute and then go in. No, I got it under sheriff. I got it. And they run down there and they hit the CS, and then we even had OC spray in there.
Yeah.
And they turn around and start coughing and run back, and you kind of like, see, that's called a learning experience.
That reminds me, there's a famous like online video gaming clip that's like all over the internet, and it's even been like spoofed on sitcoms and everything else. Like, you may have seen it, you may not, but it reminds me of that clip, where they're playing like some kind of Dungeons and Dragons game, and there are all these orbs and things.
Yeah.
And there's this one guy, he goes, "Let's do this, Roscoe Jenkins." He comes on, and everyone else is like, "Oh, come on, dude!"
Yeah.
And then he just
Leroy
gets smoked.
Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah,
Leroy Jenkins, and then he gets smoked.
And every department has one or two Leroy Jenkins. And we're sitting here saying, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do." Where's Leroy? He's already running up, knocking on the door. Oh my Lord! And so you always have those Leroy Jenkins that just run in there, and all of a sudden, and then if you remember that clip, or if anybody has seen that clip, we're those guys around going like, "Oh, great, thanks a lot, Leroy. Thanks a lot." Now we're all dying here. Thanks a lot, on the video game.
Yeah, when you told that story, I was like, I just think right of that scene of that video game clip, and I was like, that pretty much sums up what happens.
Nowadays they call it squirrel.
That's right.
So it turned out to be a interesting start of the week.
Sure, exactly.
We ended the year busy, and we started the year busy, but we're towards the middle part of the week, and it's kind of slowed down, and we're hoping. Super Bowl Sunday's coming up. We're concerned about the alcohol and
it's going to be a fun
drinking and driving.
Sunday, but
the fighting.
Sheriff's deputies, RPD, state police, they're all going to be out and about.
Absolutely.
Keeping an eye on that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So. One thing we've also, I'm just kind of get you, I've noticed seems like a lot of rollover crashes out in the county in the last couple of weeks. Is it just all weather related stuff, or are we seeing like alcohol and drug related on these, or is it just a bad luck of accidents?
A combination of both.
Okay.
A combination of both.
Yeah.
We've had a couple that were alcohol related, and then a couple that were just driver inattention to weather.
Gotcha. Okay. It just seemed like, man, we're seeing a lot of these, and is it just a coincidence, or are we seeing some trends on your ends? But it sounds like it was a little cocktail of some bad weather, some people made some dumb decisions.
Day and a half.
Yeah.
It was just one behind the other, and we
had
the same time. Two at the same time.
Yeah.
One here outside of Roswell, and then the other one down off of State Road 2 and
Vista Largo.
Okay. And that and then for folks that don't realize, too, that the Chaves County Sheriff's Department, yes, they serve every inch of Chaves County, but sometimes those inches go beyond Chaves County. We live in he had noticed, a rural part of the country. So, and believe it or not, there's more rural counties around us than Chaves County, and so, like, if there's stuff going on in, like, Roosevelt County or something, sometimes the Chaves County Sheriff is the quickest first responder to be on scene. So you guys, even though you serve Chaves County, you almost serve all of southeast New Mexico. I mean, yeah, they're not calling you way out to other side of Hobbs or nothing, but certainly, you know, if you're going halfway to Vaughn sometimes to deal with an accident or an issue or something. So you guys cover a lot of ground that people may not realize sometimes.
Exactly, and the way the state statute and the law is set up is it states any sheriff shall give the same power and respect or authority to any other sheriff as if they're in their county.
Gotcha.
So we work real well with the surrounding counties. We work real well with all counties, but the surrounding counties is real important because we have limited amount of resources. They have limited,
they do too.
They have limited amount of resources, and so we try and come together on those. There's times when Otero County has helped us out down in the Boot Hill area, and there's times and they'll take care of it
because they can probably get to that quicker than you guys sometimes. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's times whenever we've had to go down and do the same thing with either Otero or Eddy County or Lee County and things like that, and we border. People don't realize we border several counties.
We do.
You know, and so whether it's and we've done Lincoln County as well until they can get there.
Yeah.
So it's really good to work with all the other counties, and it's important to have that good working relationship. And we all have the same goal. It's not about whose uniform is on the front page. It's not about who rescues the day. It's all about all of us going home.
Sure.
All of us making sure everybody's safe and making sure that we can hopefully end whatever the problem is without any other issues.
Absolutely. And that's and this is something I think Southeast New Mexico is pretty good at getting for the most. I mean, there's always people.
We're
that
still
don't.
Western.
But I mean,
things do get Western every now and then.
but for the most part, we don't have, thank God, the issues that you see on the TV all the time with the differences between the public and law enforcement. And I know that's due to leadership. The police chief, the sheriff, these folks do an amazing job of trying to talk and be that liaison and making sure the community is fully on board with or seeing what the sheriff's department is doing, what the RPD is doing, and those things. So that has a lot to do with that. But yeah, I mean,
community policing.
Yeah,
be approachable.
Yeah, and I know, and the sheriff is every time he comes on the radio here, he talks about that. He goes, I want my deputies to be, sitting on the street corners talking to folks, and when they come to at lunch to pop in, come on and visit. Yeah, come on and visit and talk to us. And if you want to be where any human being can feel easily walking up to a sheriff's deputy, whether it's just to report something bad or just saying, hey, cool car.
Yeah, let me check out the lights. And then that's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
We all, what people don't realize is this is a small community, and we all shop at the same stores. We all run into each other at the same stores, and so it's important to remember that we all have the same. We all are human.
Sure.
And just because you have bars, stripes, stars, whatever the case may be, it doesn't put you above anybody.
Sure.
One thing that and nothing against politicians, but I don't believe in the politics.
Sure.
And I believe in people. And I get that from the sheriff and Andy Griffith.
Sure.
He was my role model growing up.
I get what you're saying.
It's much easier, like I said earlier, especially at our age now, to talk yourself out of having to fight than to have to fight.
And I'm sure both of you guys, you've learned that lesson the hard way, I imagine. Your early policing days, and you're young and dumb like we all are.
Stuff,
yeah.
But you recover quicker then also.
And you realize
you don't have as much.
Sure. And at the end of the day, you get a better result.
Absolutely.
You get a better result. And don't get me wrong, and I'll let you, maybe LT, you could explain this. You guys build those relationships with the public. So that person that you talked to and maybe had a run-in because they had a little too much to drink over here, you treat them decent, everything goes well. You see him a month later, and that guy's helping you solve a case because he saw and witnessed something, and because you treated each other with some humanity here.
That's
that
right.
Guy's going to be on your side the next time something goes down in those streets. And
absolutely,
and
they
I
remember that.
helps you.
They remember that.
Yeah,
I had it this weekend. I ran into a guy, and he was yelling and screaming. I got out. He recognized me. That automatically brought the intensity level of that situation.
He's like, all right, I'm all right. That guy, he ain't going to steer me wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
he's
that's
a big guy.
Well, yeah, but 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 then again,
but
that
it's
could
all
be
about respect.
That could be to your disadvantage. I'm guessing on calls too, because automatically you're gonna say, "Oh, this tree's gonna knock me silly here," because he's towering over me. Like you have to be almost uber nice because of your size. You already have an. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like sure, it's an advantage when it does go south, but till it goes south, sometimes it's probably a disadvantage for you until you get to emote and talk and get them calmed down a little bit.
Absolutely, and being as big as I am, sometimes that does work to my disadvantage because if I show up on a scene that's very hostile and alcohol's related, they think, "Oh, okay, we're gonna take out the big guy
the biggest dude." Yeah, he's first one. Yeah, you've got a big target on your back because. Yeah, it's no different in prison or anywhere else. It's like you're in a rep, you go after the biggest dude on the block.
Yeah.
That's just the rules, and that carries into the street and in prison. So that mindset's there. So yeah, you're right, but don't get me wrong. I'm sure you're like I like being big, and it does come in handy when I need it.
99% of the time, it helps. Yes,
only 2 times in the last 2 years that I've had to visit the hospital, he put me there. So literally, he threw me into traffic one time because I was holding the other guy's arm, and he threw us both into traffic.
Gotcha. So a little friendly fire there,
and
just
then ran me
trying
over on the other one. So,
yeah.
But one thing that is important for everyone to remember is, regardless of your size, regardless of your strength, regardless of your speed, everybody is equal in that they all have a voice.
Sure.
And it all comes down to being able to talk to people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize, but what's important to remember is 90% of talking is listening.
Mm-hmm.
You should be listening 90% of the time, talking 10% of the time. And we've seen some of those officers or deputies or whoever it may be, they ask a question and then they will answer it for them. Tell me what happened. Because I already know this is blah, blah, blah. Let them talk. Let them, regardless of whether it's BS or not, let them talk. Give them that opportunity. Well, it's the same thing with any call you get.
Sure.
And
it makes
to
sense.
Us, it may be a small issue.
Sure.
But to them, it was big enough for them to call us.
Sure.
And it means a lot to them. So treat that, we've conveyed to the deputies, treat that call, give it your 100%.
Yeah.
And I've had instances where I'm talking to somebody and my phone rings and like earlier, I just click it off.
Right.
And they say, "Do you need to get that?" No. You have my undivided attention.
I'm with
talking
you
to
right
you
now.
right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's the most important
And
thing.
absolutely, because even if they're wrong, and it's no different than like you or I, if we get mad or something, sometimes just talking about it and getting it out. And then as soon as you're done, you're already de-escalated 3 levels. Like, all right, now I said it. I got it out. I feel a little better. So sometimes you just let them vent for a minute.
Exactly.
You can avoid the tussle and hustle because now they're calmed down. It's like, I get you, dude, but you can't do what you did. You got to see that, right? And once you talk to them on that level, then you're like, all right, let's,
Exactly.
and that's where it changes. And I imagine that's where you guys learn. Again, this is where that experience comes in.
Sure.
Well, and our mouth and the way we talk to people, it determines the outcome of all situations.
Well, and it's no different in everything in humanity.
That's
I mean,
right.
look at protests and things.
That's right.
If they're coming up wild-eyed and wild-haired and they're screaming, I don't care if they're on your side. You're like, whoa, that's
the reaction
weird,
is always equal to the action.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't.
But if those people came at you, even if you devoutly disagree with what they said, but they came at you like, hey, dude,
Exactly.
You're going to at least, all right, this person's on a, I disagree with them, but at least we can converse and talk, and you're going to get a lot more headway doing it that way. So, just listen to this and take that advice into other aspects of your life too, not just your interactions with law enforcement. But,
absolutely.
And I always tell, and I don't care what anybody says. I know that the live PD thing goes on, and I know they tried to come here, and it's going to get shot down. But as a tool to train the community about what law enforcement does, I think there's no better tool.
Absolutely. You know what?
It is an amazing, because every time you watch that show, you're seeing it from the officer's perspective. And so, why you guys are cautious at first before you start doing stuff. Now you're seeing why, because at any given moment, you don't know if that guy's going to fly out with the door open and guns blazing or what. And it happens. There is no typical call that can give you an indicator one way or another whether that's going to, there's some you're like, all right, but it could be a person that looks like everything's cool and kosher, and then
but in their
flips the
mind,
script and they go crazy, or you have the warning type where you're like, okay, this guy's
We can
got
see
a
where this
trail
is
of mess
going.
going on here. Yeah, but there's no real indicators on either one of those going
Exactly.
south or north in there, and so that's why until
Well, and
you
that's
guys
why we've-
talk and hear something, you guys are like guard up, guns up,
It's all
till-
business.
Yeah, until okay, we got it de-escalated. Everybody's
Right.
calm. We can put the guns. We can start talking like people.
Yeah.
Now that we realize there's no one in serious threat here, but until that happens, you guys are going to be on guard, and that's
We're going to do
to
business
protect them and to you
the whole way.
Exactly. So, and I think if the public understood that,
Well, and
then we could get past some of the things we talk about and
Right.
going on and
And
how
it's-
policing's done.
And it's on both sides, the public and law enforcement. Everyone needs to understand that this job can be done, but it can be done respectfully. It can be done humanely.
Sure.
It can be done without having to disrespect each other and still get the job done.
Sure.
And still enforce the laws and things like that.
And
that's the most important thing.
And let's face it, sure. Officers are human beings too. I mean, yes, sure. 99% of your officers do amazing things, but like we talked about earlier, young guns blazing. You always get one or two that that they get hot-headed, and you have to do something and
to reel them back in.
And if you run across that scenario, comply, do everything. And then if there's some wrongness that happened, then you address it afterwards, and you can talk to a superior and do something. That's the way
what
to
we're
go
here for.
and deal with it. But I guarantee if you follow an officer's commands, you will never get shot or never be in
Exactly.
any danger.
Exactly.
I guarantee that part. Now, you can disagree with them and may not like it, but if you comply and then address your disagreement later after you've complied, then things are going to go a whole lot better.
The one thing to remember
Yes.
is the responding deputy or officer, their main focus is safety.
Yeah.
Their focus is scene security and safety. So when they show up, it's all business.
Yeah.
And then they'll start sorting out, we can sort out the players and the
Absolutely.
victims and the suspects and things like that.
But
upon arrival, it's
Yeah.
scene safety and security for everybody involved,
Absolutely.
even the suspect. And so, things have to be done a certain way, and things are set into motion that way.
Sure.
But one of the things that I'm extremely proud of is we have all the admin staff, that's myself, the sheriff, all the lieutenants and sergeants, and we've started now with the deputies, have attended an exorbitant amount of CIT training. We went to Albuquerque where we went through a week-long course, and they actually had actors come in, and they would put you through scenarios, and these actors were amazing.
Yeah.
And they were really amazing. You had one that was going to jump off of a bridge, and you had to talk her down. You had another one that was upset at a game and arguing with the person next to him, and it shows you that sometimes it's much easier to approach it from a different angle.
Sure.
Than they're wanting to argue.
Absolutely.
And if you just diffuse it and just deflection.
Yeah.
Good old fashioned deflection.
And we see, we see that kind of thing, and you see, like you said, you see the result. I'm very curious because, like I said, you guys are both veteran law enforcement officers, so you've been around the block, you've seen things, you've been officers. Has that training changed? Like when you guys are going through the academy and what they were teaching you versus the types of things they're teaching deputies, even at the academy today.
Constant.
Is it night day different?
It's constant.
Yeah.
It's just like the laws. The laws are always changing.
Sure.
It's just the same with
And
our training.
that's something, because you always hear that. It's like, we need to change how we train officers. And I'm like, it does happen. It's
Sure it does.
Sure. How they taught a police officer to be a police officer in 78 is not the same as how they're teaching a police officer in
That's right.
91, which is way different than how they're teaching a police officer in 2023.
That's right.
Absolutely. So
we have to evolve with the times.
Yeah.
And back then, and a perfect example of that is I have this when I teach active shooter classes or concealed carry or whatever, or officer safety classes even. I show a picture of Andy Griffith, and I tell people, when did this become this? And then I show a fully geared up with the helmet and everything law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
And I tell them it's when this, and I show them a picture of Otis. We all remember Otis that turned himself in, right?
Yeah.
He was the town drunk.
Yeah.
And then I show them a picture of a person with a ski mask on, an AK-47, things like that. And
Sure.
I say, we have to evolve with what the times are.
Sure.
The training has to evolve. the training we had back when we all started is still in our mind. We still have that training. We're just adding to it.
Sure.
So should we come across a situation that necessitates that training, we have it. But if it's a situation that we apply the most recent training to, then we've got that as well.
Absolutely.
And so anybody, I think, in any business, not just law enforcement, that says they've learned everything there is to know about that business, it's time for them to retire.
Yeah.
And it's because you're learning every day.
The day you think you know it all is the day you're going to get your butt handed to you.
Like I told Justin, nothing would surprise me.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. And I think, to be honest, I think for the most part, not most people around here get that, and they understand. They know what a law enforcement, and hence the reason why
we have a great community.
Yeah, it's like you tell people, "Hey, go buy an officer lunch." Like, yeah, I'm going to do that, and they do it. You know, it's all. That was one thing when I got the opportunity to do a ride along a couple of years ago. That was,
and we welcome people to come out and do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Please,
really do.
Please come down to the sheriff's department.
Come down, visit with me. I have the waivers.
Yeah, it's all citizens. You know, if you're physically able, I recommend you do take a chance, take an opportunity to go say, you'll get a whole different perspective of the town you live in. Because I guarantee there's going to be parts of this town you see that you didn't. That's here. No,
that actually happens.
That's in Chavez County. It's in Roswell. It's right here. Yes, yes, it is. And because you know, if you don't go there, you don't know. And so you know that's an eye opener. But number two is just to see what a typical officer sees on I mean, I'll never forget this as long as I live. I had the deputy sit with me, and we were driving down one of these alleys here on the south end of town, and there was a homeless man that was kind of just laying up against the fence, like he was kind of leaning up, and you couldn't tell if he's asleep or awake or what. We did so he was just a wellness check. Hey, let's check on this guy. And but what got me was, like, as we're pulling up, and we're still rolling up to the thing, we see the guy up there. The deputy tells me, he goes, stay in the car, but he says, watch, there's two guys over here, and I ain't seen none of this. Mm-hmm. I was like,
it's called situational
just watching
awareness.
this dude here, and I'm the do, you know.
Yeah, the good old tunnel vision going, yeah.
And the deputy's like, there's two guys here, there's a dude with a thing here and this, and I'm like, I don't even know what color shirt I'm wearing, you know. And he's And so to me, and that opened my eyes, was like, absolutely, how much stuff do you miss on a given day just going about your thing, and we're deputies because of their training. You know, it's just how their life is, and that's exactly it. It's their life. Yeah.
And even when they're off, you can always spot an off-duty officer or deputy because their head should be constantly on a swivel, as we call it.
Yeah.
I have to sit with my back. You know, that's when I'll pull rank and say, hey, switch me seats. Yeah. I just get nervous sitting with my back towards everything.
I get it. Yeah.
It's just a lifestyle. It's not a job. It's a lifestyle.
You've seen too many things go down, and you're like, I'm going to do what I can to avoid that in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
And I'm probably being overcautious, but you know what? I'd rather be overcautious and wrong than undercautious and wrong.
Right. Yes. And when we're going back a little bit, talking about the training and the updated training, we've seen an influx, and everybody has seen it, an influx in the homeless and people that are coming from places like Albuquerque. Well, our homeless that we have here, they are different. They don't have
it's
the
like
same.
A cultural difference.
It is. And what I mean by that is the Albuquerque. They're more aggressive. Okay. They're more aggressive. They're used to that big city lifestyle and everything.
Like it's a rougher patch of people up there.
They don't ask; they demand.
Sure,
and
it's they're a little more respectful to each other here, whereas that's a little more cutthroat up there.
Absolutely.
They bring that mindset down here, and they're like, "Dude, you're messing up our apple
you have
cart
to
here."
deal with them a little differently than you deal with the other. And one thing I want to let everybody know is lock your doors when you're in your car. The other day, we had one walk up to a vehicle that was at a stoplight and just open the door.
Wow, that's bold.
And ask for money and basically demanded money. Keep your doors locked. A lot of vehicles lock automatically when you start them, but if they don't, lock them. You pay attention when you pull up to
I got one of those vehicles that's old school. I got to
Exactly. It's funny. The higher you go in rank, the older your vehicle is. I
got a Jeep Wrangler.
I got a 2000 pickup.
Yeah, but it's an 18,
23
but
years old.
I didn't want any bells and whistles. So I got crank windows. I got that's more
215,000 miles, and I'm still driving it.
Yeah, exactly. So.
But yeah, pay close attention. Put your head on a swivel. It all goes back to situational awareness, and that's for everybody, not just officers, but everybody.
Yeah, it was a good reminder to me, saying, "Hey, get your head out of your butt sometimes, man. Walk around and see what's going on."
We all get the tunnel vision every now and then, but you have to shake your head and
it was a real eye opener.
Webs off.
But I would if you guys are if you are physically able and I would recommend please go down and request. You get a real good glimpse of what, and obviously some nights are better than others, and typically your Friday and Saturday nights are going to be more action packed than say
you would think
Tuesday at 2:00
or Tuesday. I was going to say, or
but
Tuesday lately.
You spend a day hanging out at the detention center. So
Manic Mondays. Yeah. We have nicknames for all of them. Terrible Tuesdays, Wacky Wednesdays, and it's just you never know in this business. You never know what's going to happen, and that's one of the things that I don't just like this business. I love this job. I love what I do. I've never wanted to do anything other than this, and this is my passion. And I live, eat, breathe. Anyone that knows me, I love this.
And that's why you're great at what you do, and why you are what you are, and why
it's important to pass that on to those that are coming up, and they're our future. They're the ones we're going to turn the reins over to, and
you have to be that for the future of law enforcement. Because let's face it, I'm sure you guys have an amazingly hard time trying to get new deputies because of the world we live in.
We do.
It's like, who wants that mess?
Sure.
I'd rather do 20 other things than have to deal with. But it takes a certain breed of person to do it. And that's always been the case in law enforcement. That's why families, law enforcement's one of those careers that it's not uncommon for generations of families to be cops.
That's exactly right.
It takes a certain mindset to be able to do that. It's same with firefighters. It takes a certain mindset for an idiot to go run into a burning building and say, "I want to do that."
I had an uncle who was a police officer here many years ago. One of my uncles was the chief inspector in El Paso.
Yeah,
and for the police department. So you're absolutely correct, and it's an amazing career.
Sure.
You see things that you could only dream about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I tell people, if you're not a people person, don't do a people person job. If you're not a people person, you can become a people person.
Sure.
That those people that have that fear of talking or have that fear of talking in front of groups or things like that. I tell people, if you're talking to 2 people and you trip, 2 people are going to giggle.
Sure.
If you're talking to 1,000 people and you trip, 1,000 people are going to giggle. The moral of the story is pick your feet up.
Yeah.
Know what you're talking about. Don't trip.
Sure.
And so,
and then when you do trip, roll with it.
Absolutely. Be the first one to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
We're all human.
That same advice works on radio too. You see, you make a bunch of jokes about yourself. People are like, that guy's all right.
Yeah. You take the fire away from them.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. But that's the wisdom and leadership and I think that's what's going to save law enforcement is guys like y'all, talking to these new people and say, look, it's this yes, there's a lot of garbage you deal with, but man, when you have that one moment when you've just made someone's day, that erases all that.
Thank you, you'll remember.
Yeah, when you get that moment where there's a lady that was in a rough situation or a man or anybody, and you were able to give them peace in their world again.
Sure.
Give them a resolution or at least a place where they don't feel like they're in jeopardy anymore.
Exactly.
And there's, or God forbid, when you save a life, because I'm sure there's every law enforcement officer that spends any kind of, like any 20-year law enforcement officer, I don't care where they served, they save somebody's life. It's somebody in that 20 years, somebody choking, somebody, drowning, whatever, stuck in a tree, something, that happened at least once in their career.
Absolutely.
And so that's the kind of stuff that I imagine follows you and says, this is why I'm a 20-year law enforcement officer. Yeah. And this is why on the day when I just had somebody yell at me, spit at me, call me this and that. But
the days you question yourself are always erased by the days when someone thanks you.
Sure.
And sometimes it's the smallest interaction. It you may not have thought it made an impact or a difference, but all of a sudden you get that thank you note in the mail, or you get that phone call.
Sure.
And
or you see them on the streets again, and they're doing better, and they're like, dude, you saved my life, that overdose. Now I'm here talking, but you got me when I was overdosing here on the street corner. And now I'm here to talk, and it's because of you. Thank you. And that does happen.
It does.
It does. You'll see someone.
It's amazing. They go from wanting to fight you at that moment, because you've taken away the high, to later on, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Sure. And I've talked to some folks that, and they'll tell their kids, hey, this is Charles. I tell them, call me Charles. You don't have to call me undersheriff. Call me Charles. Yeah. I'm a person just like you are. Sure. And so I meet their kids, and they'll tell them, he sent me to prison, or we used to play hide and seek all the time, and what I mean by that is he used to chase me all the time, and and
it's
that
better
happens.
Community policing. It's like, we chew the same dirt. I went to school with that guy. Yeah. We used to play baseball together, or we got in trouble in school together. We got whatever.
Exactly. And those are the people that make this job what it is. Sure. Those people that come back and say, you know what, I appreciate you doing that. I now have a family because of that. And it wasn't because of us. It was because of them. They made those decisions to stop that lifestyle they were in. We enforced the law and made what's basically corrective actions. Right. But they ultimately deserve the credit for where they're at. Sure. Not us.
You just put them in that direction.
We just knock them back into the lanes.
They're the ones that took the steps to correct it. That's it. And that's it too. So I just saw the time, but I know we talked with the sheriff here, but always looking for new deputies to be a part and get that stable, and because it's not a job where you just say I want to do it one day and they say great, you're a deputy, go be a deputy. There's it's a process. There's a lot of process and prepping and getting you ready, and the sheriff's department does an amazing job of getting all your deputies ready. So once they are off to the academy, everything's second nature to them, and they're ready and fully prepared. We have 4 in the academy now. Good deal. So
we still have a couple of positions available if you're interested.
Well, always keep putting applications, because when they're full, I always keep those applications, because it's
we keep a
deputy
pool of
retires, deputy moves
to another agency.
Deputy says this is not my my type of work. I want to go make sandwiches. Okay, well then we need somebody to replace.
And I respect that one.
Absolutely,
just like any of the others. So
absolutely.
Once again, if you know of a crime or believe you have information that would be important to us, 624-6500. Make sure you follow the Chaves County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. In the future, we'll be bringing some other lieutenants. Lieutenant Cassidy, she is our DWI administrative lieutenant. Lieutenant Holy, he handles the recruiting and the training. Okay. Some of the training stuff. And Lieutenant Mike Ray, he's our criminal investigation division. Nice. But again, this is Lieutenant Charles Drake. He's over patrol, so if you see him out and about, stop and visit with him. And we welcome you to come down. And if I'm not available, you can get a hold of him, and he can sign the waiver as well to do a ride-along.
And if all you deputies trying to get a better shift, give him find out what his foods of choice or beverages of choice are, and we'll start to go from there.
Give him a hunting tag or a fishing permit.
Oh, that's the key to his heart. Okay, got it.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you very much. Thank you for doing what you do. Stay safe out there, and God bless you guys and all the other deputies and all of our law enforcement. And
absolutely.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks here, and care about Super Bowl one way or the other?
Not in the least. I'm as sad as it is. I'm a New York Giants fan.
Okay. Hate the Eagles.
Well, and here's the thing. We usually start in the 5th quarter, and there's only 4, as everyone knows. So unfortunately, we're watching again.
Well, you see who I like. I'm in the same boat you are.
Yeah. But you know what? Good luck to both teams. I hope it goes well with no injuries on either side. And we really want everybody to try and get along, watch your drinking and driving, enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday, but enjoy it to where you can have a safe weekend.
Absolutely. LT, you got a preference?
It's going to be a battle in my house. Got kids that like the Eagles, father-in-law, other family likes the Chiefs.
A house divided.
See?
Yeah.
Well, then you find out who's really on your side.
Now, is the rest of the people in your house as big as you are?
Some of the kids are getting big.
In there. I was like, all right, you might need some other deputies in case they get to wrestling. See,
I those lessons you learn years ago. I learned never try and jump between two great big guys fighting, because you get thrown in traffic. You get run over.
That's the times he's been to the hospital.
That's right.
It took him 2 times to learn this lesson, but he
threw me in traffic. The other one, his knee my head tried to hit his knee.
Oh, and lost.
Figure that out. Yeah.
Yep.
But it happens.
He's just a machine.
Yeah. He has no brakes. Good runner, no brakes.
No brakes. Well, hey, things that, once they get going, they don't stop on a dime.
We
That's
call
just
it the
how
Drake drop.
It's called momentum. It's
Yeah.
just big things. Once they're in motion, they stay in motion.
That's
I think
it.
there's some science with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Thank you, guys. And,
Absolutely. Thank
we'll
you
see
again
you.
for
We'll see you
having
here next time.
Absolutely.
All right,
See you.
All right, it's 9 o'clock. You're listening to 990 AM KSVP, Artesia, New Mexico.
I'm Jason Walker. For the time being, it's just a war of words. China's foreign ministry says the United States has flown several balloons into its airspace.
After a weekend in which U.S. jets shot down a series of unidentified devices, Beijing has responded by accusing Washington of its own illegal incursions into China's airspace. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said it was not uncommon for the U.S. to enter the airspace of other countries without permission. He said that since January last year, more than 10 U.S. balloons had illegally flown above China.
BBC correspondent Stephen McDonald reporting. In the meantime, NORAD's General Glenn Van Herk says they're still trying to determine about what the latest balloons were doing.
They're similar in size, similar in speeds. They go with the wind on the